Welcome, welcome, my dear relatable people. We are back here after 1 month, a whole month since we stopped the chop. Well, thank you for voting for the subject of the stream. If you missed it, we made a community post in the page of the channel asking for what we wanted to talk about in the monthly stream. And this was the most voted topic, so thanks everybody for voting for it. If you didn't see it, that's because YouTube has sandboxed the channel. So if you want to see our future post, you absolutely need to switch on the notification. I promise, I will not make posts every second, okay? I will not flood your feed. But unfortunately, it is how it is. And if you want to see our community post, if you want to see when we publish a video, if you want to see whenever basically we have everything or something to tell you, you need to put the notifications on. So as you can hear, I'm having a little bit of difficulties in putting together my thoughts. That's because I'm absolutely destroyed. I finished putting together the material for this stream like 2 hours ago. And let's hope everything goes fine. So thanks for everybody for joining the chat. We have a ton of people tonight. We have Corinne, we have Fantasia, Mrs. G, Amateur Season, Maya, Lisbeth Polino, Sasha, Rachel, Luis Felipe. Luis Felipe, he's the one that's calling me a bitch every time I make a stream. Frankie, Kayo Kamada, and many other. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. So what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about those poor souls that will never, ever be on All Stars. Well, at least in our opinion, will never be on All Stars. Now, why will they never, ever be on All Stars? Well, some of these queens absolutely did deserve to never have a moment of exposure anymore. Some others, well, that's kind of debatable. It's up to you really to decide if what they did was too much or just enough. Just enough. We'll see. So, as you know, All Stars is a great opportunity to revive your career. Now, this is not only true for the queens who competed in the very early season, like Season 2, Season 3, Season 1, Season 4, and so on, but also for the most recent queens who didn't really have a chance to shine in their season, because of what we like to call in here as the Tatiana effect. Now, if you remember, when All Stars 1 came along, almost nobody noticed. It was kind of like an afterthought, you know? People didn't really like it. But then years later, All Stars 2 came along, and people absolutely fell in love with Tatiana. People who didn't know who she is. People who forgot her. People who absolutely maybe even hated her in her season. And Tatiana's career completely blossomed. She gained a ton of followers, she gained a ton of gigs, and no doubt she also gained a ton of money, especially in the year in which All Stars 2 aired. So it's really an incredible opportunity for these queens to actually compete on Drag Race. On Drag Race All Stars. But as we're about to see, some are really unwanted. So let's start easy, okay? Let's start with the most obvious one. She's a queen from Season 12, and she is probably the most rightfully disqualified queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. She is Sherry Pie. Now, we can talk a ton about Sherry Pie, but what is there to say? I mean, the story is out there. Everybody has been talking about it for months. And it's very recent, so I will not go through everything that happened. I will just go you a very brief walkthrough of the allegations made against Sherry Pie. So basically, immediately before the season was airing, somebody came out and made allegations of sexual misconduct on the part of Sherry Pie. Now, the strange thing was that Sherry Pie apologized for this, which means she gave credit to these accusations. So, as you can imagine, Drag Race is a billion-dollar brand. The absolute thing that they cannot afford is this kind of publicity, and they're not the only one. A ton of other people, a ton of queens at the time, spoke out against her, asking the production to disqualify her, and of course she was disqualified. Now, what you probably don't know is that in the meantime, upwards of 30 people came out making similar allegations of sexual misconduct. So, as you can imagine, this is absolutely inadmissible. Sherry Pie will never ever appear on Drag Race again, especially All Stars, but probably not even on television, unless they maybe make in the future some kind of show talking about mental health, talking about the circle of abuse, you know, things like this that can be teaching moments for the audience. Unless this kind of shows come around, she will never have a moment of air again. I have no doubt about that. And she will surely never be on All Stars. Now, let's move on. I don't like to talk about her. So let's move on immediately to the next queen. And have a little laugh about it. Now, next queen is Mimi I'm First. Now, what I want to ask you guys in the chat is, can you guess why she will never be on All Stars? Maybe some of you heard something that was going on with her a couple of years ago. Mimi I'm First was famous for lifting up India Farah and winning All Stars 1, of course. Well, winning, quote unquote winning, because let's be fair, after All Stars 1 came along, Mimi I'm First really have kind of a little bit of a resurgence, you know. She had this kind of redemption edit, even though she stayed just for one episode. But it was really good for her, and maybe she could have come back for another All Stars, but I don't really think she will. So let's go through the comment. Let's see your suggestions. Larry Williams said, drag is not a contact sport. Well, that depends. If you're Alaska, it can be a contact sport. It depends how big is your fan base, how much of a contact sport you can have. Kayu Kamada says, guess what, Mimi? We did. Luis Felipe, because they need someone to go home first. Come on, guys, don't be so mean. Mia Les says she feels sorry for Mimi because she's a very misunderstood queen. Did you guys notice that I'm actually following the chat? Could this be the time I learn to multitask? Well, we're going to see about that. How long my attention span will manage. So, nobody knows. Well, if you thought that Mimi was never going to appear on All Stars because she called RuPaul out for her silence during the events that went on and are still going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, well, you kind of might be wrong. But let's read what Mimi told to Mama Ru. She said, "You're the most famous queer person of color, and you have said nothing. Nothing. Speak up. Come on. You got to be fracking kidding me." You gotta give her credit. You gotta give her credit. I mean, when this post was made, and I'm going to show you why, Mimi had nothing to lose already. That's why she probably made this post. But, you know, I always find very amusing when queens come out and call RuPaul out for fracking. By the way, according to Frack Tracker, almost 100 new fracking wells will be opened soon on that fabulous ranch in... Where's the ranch? I cannot remember where they have the ranch. That's Wyoming. However it is pronounced. You know what I mean. Starix Ray says, "Oh, the fracking. It's always about the fracking." If you know anything about this channel, you know that it's always about the fracking. New videos are going to come out, and be sure that there will be some fracking reference in there. It will never stop. It will never stop. I mean, I'm sorry, but I cannot help myself by mock people who have money and want more money. I mean, come on, you guys. We are all in the same boat here. You know the struggle that it is to pay your rent and pay your bills. And when you see people who have ton of money and allegedly do this kind of shit, yeah. But let's go on to our list. Because this is not the reason. This is not the reason why she will never be on All Stars. The real reason is far more grim. That's because Mimiam First had allegations of sexual misconduct against her. Those allegations were made in 2018 by two of I think former colleagues, people that were working with her. And I cannot pronounce the name, but you know, Harvey W. They called her the Harvey W. of drag because of this. So, as you can see, what's true for Sherry Pie is going to be true for Mimiam First, because although these are allegations, okay, these are not proven facts. The case didn't go to court, okay? You don't have a stamp of the law saying, okay, this is what happened. This is all allegations. But in the world of public relations, an allegation can destroy your career. An allegation can absolutely destroy your image, especially when it comes to a brand like World of Wonder and RuPaul's Drag Race. They will never accept a contestant with this kind of allegations made against them. So what happened with these guys? Basically, these guys were they were participating in a live show. It was basically a sort of competitions, and at the same time they were receiving private messages from Mimi asking for what can be basically defined as sexting, I believe, but these people felt kind of uncomfortable with it, because I thought, what do I do? She's the organizer. Do I go along with it? Do I not go along with it? What happens if I don't go along with it? Will I get expelled? Will I stop working? So this is what these people have been going on in their mind. Now, I don't like to point fingers. These are allegations. Sometimes they are also rumors. So it's difficult to really understand what's going on. What I want you to reflect on is the fact that since these allegations are out there, it's more than enough to absolutely exclude this queen from ever participating. So these people can absolutely be right. They should absolutely be listened to. But then we also have to be objective and also think, well, sometimes also it happens that, you know, there are other things that go on that we know nothing about, and some people think that this kind of behavior can be exploited to build a narrative about it. So I'm not going to not give credit to these people speaking out. I just want to be objective and realize that the situation might be much bigger than any of us might know. I went online, looked for some more receipt, I found a lot of drama, but couldn't find nothing really substantive. So we're going to leave it there and just talk about the fact that these allegations are out there, and it's enough to exclude her from ever being on All Stars. But that is not enough, because it didn't end there with Mimi. After issuing an apology for what happened, explaining that, well, this is a much better apology than whatever Sherry Pie came out with. Because you remember what Sherry Pie came? She said, oh, it's because I didn't love myself. Oh, it's because I learned on Drag Race and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then people spoke out that shit has been going on since like January. So I'm not talking about that. At least this was a written apology. Okay, so I can give the benefit of the doubt to both parts on this, because I'm simply ignorant. I don't know enough. But let it be to the record that she issued an apology. The problem is that after this, allegations of sexual assault came out. This came out in July of 2020. It's 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So this really puts the final nail in the coffin, because even if you can discuss about whatever it is, this is just adding fuel to the fire. This is basically a person that said, well, I was fondled without my consent. And we can stay here and talk about the fact that drag is a provocative art, that drag has always been sexual, has always, gone around sexual stuff. Not because it needs absolutely to be sexual per se, but it's a kind of art that's always been very close to the mock or rebuild of sexual boundaries. So these kind of things are pretty normal. The point is, the moment somebody comes out and says, I didn't want that, then it becomes a problem. Then it starts to become a problem. You remember these videos seeing online when you see Alaska basically doing a golden shower number, but those people were probably paid, Those people had consent for what they were doing. So this really puts the final nail on the coffee with me. There is nothing to say about it. I don't think she will ever recover from this, and I don't think World of Wonder will ever take a chance for a queen like her to come on All Stars. And this might all be true, this might all be false, we don't know. Of course, as usual, we are with open ears and giving the benefit of the doubt to everyone, because these are delicate situations and we should not come with a prejudice. But we also need to be objective. And the objective reality is she will probably never be on All Stars. So let's move on. Yeah, I can see a ton of people talking about Tyra. We are going to talk about Tyra. I can assure you, we are going to talk about Tyra later, because we have other people before. Now that we have the sexual stuff out of the way, let's move on to the next queen. And the next queen is Robbie Turner. Now, if you remember Robbie, she's from season 8, the season where Bob came from, Naomi Smalls, Kim Chi. I know that there are some newer people who maybe never even saw season 8. It's a really good season. Not the best one, but compared to what we got recently, yes, it's absolutely so much better. Now, what happened with Robbie Turner? Now, I don't know how many of you know about this, because unless you are in the inner circles of Reddit, this kind of things tend to go kind of undetected. Maybe they trend on Twitter for a couple of days and then they completely disappear. Now, Robbie Turner disappeared, and for a good reason. I don't know if you noticed, but it's very rare to see any kind of post from her. That is because one day she made this post saying that she had an accident, a car accident, and that her driver didn't survive. Now, of course, the first reaction of people, this happened 2 years ago, by the way, the first reaction of people was to be completely, worried and surprised and say, what the hell? I know that person from television. Maybe I even follow her. And she was just being in a fatal car accident. So people started talking about it. Of course they talk about it. And so while talking about it, all this Uber accident started to trend online. It started to trend on Twitter. And that attracted some attention. I will talk about the kind of attention it attracted in a moment, but I want you to point your attention on the fact that in the last post, in the bottom right, there's a plug for an upcoming show. You will draw your own judgment on that once I finished explaining what actually happened. So, the accident goes national without confirmation. So, an online... how is it called? News reporting agency? A news site? Let's call it news site. Let's not focus too much on my lack of command of the English language. So it's called The Stranger. So what did they do? They contacted Uber. And not only they contacted Uber, they also contacted the police department of Seattle to make an inquiry and basically asked what the hell happened. This person said that her Uber driver died. The problem is that Uber responded that they were not aware on any kind of accident like that happening, and neither the police department. So people started speculating what the hell she made up Something like that. Of course, you know how I am. You know how I am. I prefer to put a little bit of mental resources aside and try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because we really live in a toxic environment, especially when it comes to interfacing to people online. So I try to make, my little part in it and say, okay, maybe there's a reason behind it. The problem is that when she issued her apology, she basically explained something that sounds completely unbelievable. It sounds completely unbelievable. She basically said that maybe somebody slipped something in her drink. By the way, I need to take advantage of this moment to say that this is very common. This is something that happens really common. If you try to pay attention to it, when you see live shows of queens, they will never accept a drink from the audience. That is because this kind of things are pretty common, okay? But the problem is, even if someone slips something in your drink and then you fall in the shower, the moment you wake up, you basically wake up. These things maybe will put you to sleep, but when you wake up, you don't imagine being in a car accident and people dying and then disappearing from online until you're called out. It's too much, It starts to sound like a made-up story. And this is what everybody believes. Is it true? I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if any of these things that we're talking about are true, because I wasn't there to visually see it. Or, it's that there's not a video that can say, okay, it's proven as fact. So I don't know. But the problem is that when you see posts, and there are a ton of posts like this, made by Kim Chi, calling Robbie out for lying about her birthday on national television, it starts to put on a doubt. So while we don't know if she was really lying about it instead of being, I don't know, completely out of it because she was drugged by someone, it's highly probable. Let's say it like this: it's highly probable that she made it up. And the point is that this thing, as far as I know, completely destroyed her career. She disappeared from social media. You never hear anything from Robbie. Let's go to a comment for a moment. Ratapus says, if Robbie just admitted she lied right from the start, she would 100% still have a career. I completely agree. You know what makes me really angry is the fact that when you approach anyone on social media and they have any kind of and they talk of any kind of mental illness, is always used as a shield. Like, oh, I did that because I'm depressed. I did that because I have anxiety. Which is not only extremely offensive to the people who actually have to live with this kind of conditions. And might I remind you, the people who have these kind of conditions, those are life conditions. You do not cure them. You learn to live with them and have the happiest life you can get while living with this. So not only is incredibly offensive the fact that it's used as a shield, but they never take the opportunity to actually expose the public from their platform to talk and open up this kind of issues that today are more relevant than ever. Robbie, could have taken the chance, if she was lying, if she is a compulsive liar, open up about it. You are not the only one. There are other people who suffer from the same problem. For some people, it's a kind of mental illness. They will just lie no matter what. For other people, it's a phase. For other people, it's conditional depending on what they're doing. For example, online influencers who come out with a ton of bullshit, but they just do it online. They could really shine a light on this kind of things that are ravaging our society, and they never take a chance. It's always used as a shield. And that makes me so angry, because you know that a word from these people is enough to convince a ton of their followers to pick up the phone, call a therapist and say, I have a problem. Can I have some help? And prevent it. That's the power of the platform. And it's not being used. It's really a pity. It's really, really a pity. So, based on this is, I don't think that with the situation staying like this, Robbie will ever have a chance to go on All Stars. I don't think the World of Wonder will take a risk to damage their image based on maybe Robbie starting saying a bunch of bullshit around. It could be. It could be. I see it as extremely unlikely. Unless she goes on into a kind of redemption edit, opening up about this kind of things. But, you know, there are so many queens that I don't really see World of Wonder taking the risk of getting a queen like her. What do you think, guys? I don't know if I would take her. Remember that Drag Race is $1 billion brand. $1 billion is 1,000 millions. Okay? I know every one of you can count, but I want you to visualize it. That's the kind of money that revolves around the TV show, the brand, the merchandise, DragCon, the franchising rights. Because now we have Drag Race Canada, we have Drag Race Thailand, we are having Drag Race Holland. Who knows how many iterations of the franchise we'll have? And, you know, they all paid their cut to World of Wonder for that. So it's really $1 billion brand. You do not risk tarnishing when you can simply take another queen who has a clean bill of health on a resume. So we will see about that. I think she's extremely unlikely. But in this list that I'm going to talk about, she is the most likely. Okay, of the unlikely ones, she's the most likely to maybe have a tiny chance of making it to the race. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If she ever comes out and goes on this journey, we will sure maybe talk about it. Why not? It's a good idea to get out of the loop and talk about something that is related to Drag Race, but also related to something that it's socially responsible in these times. So let's move on. The next queen is Miss Carmen Carrera. Now, you must know what's been going on with Carmen, because it's been something that's been going on for so long, and it made such an impact that you cannot know. So, but if you don't know, or if you know only something about it, you have to know that in 2014, if I'm not wrong, season 6 aired. And in season 6, there was this mini challenge called She-Male or Female. Please understand that I'm not using the terms in a derogatory way. I have the uttermost respect for the trans community. So I'm just quoting, just to put it there. So there was this mini challenge in which they basically had to decide if one of the pictures that they were shown was a drag queen or a biological female. Now, you have to understand that this kind of problems with the trans community they exploded when this mini challenge came out, but they did not appear out of nothing. Need I remind you that since season 2, do you remember Sonique? Sonique transitioned like Carmen did. But Sonique came out as a trans woman during the reunion for season 2. What you don't know is that a ton of people, including Sonique, have made comments about it, saying that she already knew she was trans. She was already taking hormones while she was filming, and the whole coming out during the reunion was sort of a publicity stunt for the show, of course. And the same thing happened to Carmen. So, of course, these are allegations made by these people. So it's not confirmed. I cannot come to you and say, oh, it's like this, but you know how it is. So this kind of resentment has been lingering for a while already. And this was the final drop. This was the match that made completely explode the situation. So what happens if you look back at season 6, you will not see this mini challenge. It's been edited out because there was a huge controversy about it, because the term she-male is demeaning. It's something that comes from an older generation that doesn't respect people who transitioned, or people who are in the process of transitioning, or even people who don't understand who they are and which kind of road to take, because the term she-male is something that calls back to not really a woman. It calls back, in my mind, it calls back to prostitution. It's a kind of term that if the trans community wants to reclaim, that is their thing. But it's not to be used it's not a joke anymore. Now, what I want you to also to understand is that RuPaul's Drag Race, before they moved to VH1, they used to push boundaries, and this was one of the boundaries that they used to push. The problem is, the moment the community comes out and says, please don't do it anymore, I understand the meaning of it, because this is what basically Carmen said. I understand the meaning of it, but please don't do it anymore. And as you can imagine, because we are talking about RuPaul, RuPaul was not so happy about it, and a ton of people in our own community were not so happy about it and attacked Carmen. Now, Carmen is not a saint. I'm not here to defend her. I want that to be really clear. She said a ton of shit online. In some things, she makes really sense, but a ton of other things, I cannot define it in other way than saying it's shit. So, but in this instance, she was absolutely right. Yet, a ton of people in the community attacked her in her post, asking for basically for a change in the way Drag Race was presenting the use of these terms for the trans community. And if you know anything about RuPaul, is that she doesn't really like, she doesn't really like to be told what to do. At least this is what it seems to me from the other side of the screen. So in the podcast that she makes with Michelle Visage, the one called What's the Tea, and that we lovely called Where's the Tea, because there is never a drop of tea to be found, they started joking about it. Michelle Visage went on and say, oh, did you call me a granny girl? Because that's your new thing. We cannot say a T anymore. But the problem is, it's not that you cannot say, it's not that you cannot say that word. It's the way in which you use it. It's always the way in which you use it. And we can talk about pointing fingers against people. Oh, you said this, but what about the context? What about the context? I mean, so the point is, it's a joke. It was a joke on the show, but it's a joke that some people ask you not to do it anymore. And there is no reason to get upset about it. Because this here that you see on screen, this looks like a reaction of somebody who is upset and is being sassy about it. So, what about Carmen? Well, of course, Carmen didn't take it lightly, this whole situation and the reaction, because remember, as of today, we do not have a trans contestant who already transitioned on the show, because in the world of RuPaul, that is cheating. So, This thing kind of makes you a little bit angry, because Carmen is not the smartest girl in the world, but in this instance, she's absolutely right. And I want to take a moment, only just a moment, I promise, then we go on. But I absolutely need to get it out. Now, RuPaul's Drag Race is a property of RuPaul, of course, and World of Wonder. They can do whatever they want with it. They want to ban trans contestants? Fine. That is their show to do. But you also have to understand one thing. When you have a public show like that, and you rely on your fans to tune in, to watch all of your shitload of videos online, to pay for your merchandise, to come to your DragCon and so on, you depend on the fandom to make money. So while is it true that this is their show, it's also true that if people stop liking it, they stop making money. So yes, it's their show, but if they want to make money, they will have to come to terms. They will have to find a middle way, because you have to understand one thing. Drag was born the way it was born. I am not here to give you an history lesson because I'm not educated enough to do it. What I can tell you is that, like any other form of art, it doesn't belong to anybody. Not specifically. You cannot keep the gate on something like art. That belongs to everyone. So whatever you want to do with this art form, you're free to do it. Good for you. Art form is there to enrich your life. It's not there to be of someone and not of somebody else. So maybe the show will change their attitude toward contestants who already transitioned. Maybe one day even have biological women. Why not? The so-called bio queens. I mean, Dragula is doing it. They have had drag kings. Remember Landon? So you see, maybe things will change in this manner. Maybe things will change, because after all, don't forget it. RuPaul, World of Wonder, VH1, they are in this game to make money. That's the name of the game. Money is the name of the game. So if people start voting with their wallet and saying, listen, drags belongs to everybody, so we don't care about it. If it's talent, I don't give a shit. Stop being so 1970s about drag. I mean, come on. Maybe things will change. Maybe we will have trans contestants on the show, but we will never have Carmen, because, you know, if all of this wasn't enough, she also made this post in January of this year. I mean, you can see Carmen, my God. I don't know. Sometimes she makes me laugh. I cannot say the word. Because YouTube will never allow me. But she called RuPaul the H of drag, the false prophet, and the Antichrist. My God. You know? She completely went all in. I mean, Carmen will never do Drag Race. I cannot speak for her, but I can tell you she will probably never accept an invitation to All Stars. But she will be also not wanted. There is no doubt about that. You cannot talk this kind of shit to RuPaul and then you know, expect that you will ever be invited in our brand. It simply doesn't happen. So I don't know if I would go as hard as Carmen. I don't know her whole motivations for this. I just find it very gaggy that there are some queens out there that really bash out to RuPaul, because, you know, there is a, I don't want to say a dark side, but the problem with RuPaul is that she projects this image of mother, you know. That is the problem with it. If she would come out as the simple person that she is, like presenting herself for who she is, with her faults and her hops, how can I say it? If she would come out in a genuine way, like her contestants do, that would have been another things. But when you go over the top with this, oh, I'm a mother, this is all about families, you're kind of bringing attention to the opposite of this image whenever it comes out. So, for example, in the trans issues, in the fracking, in treating the contestants not as people, but as characters in the show. You know this. You know what I'm talking about, because we talk about this kind of things a lot. So this is it for Carmen. This is it. I don't think she will ever want to compete on All Stars, and she will probably never ever get invited in any kind of iteration going around the Drag Race brand. So moving on. Remember in the chat, since we are a ton of people, more than we usually have, if you want me to read something or you have a question, I can stop and read your question. Just write at top RPDR videos, so it's highlighted in the chat. Now, moving on. Our next queen is Courtney Act. Now, for some of you, it might come as a surprise. But if you know Courtney, if you follow her, You know a couple of things about her. First of all, when she competed on Drag Race, she was already very, very famous. All of Australia knew her because she competed in Australian Idol. I think she ended up in the finals for that, but she was kind of a phenomenon in Australia. So she already had a huge career. Then she moved to the U.S. and tried to trying to kickstart a career. And that's when she competed on Drag Race. Now, the point with Courtney is that, differently from most of the other queens we already talked about, she said that she would already turn down All Stars. She wouldn't do it. Now, why would she never do it? Well, do you remember her Edit in season 6? Because a ton of queens spoke up about it, and Courtney herself spoke up about it, that she was basically portrayed as a bully. When, if you know anything about Courtney Act, she is the most respectful queen I have ever seen on the face of earth. And I know that these are words that everybody uses, but I never use them. But I would say it for her. Every time she opens her mouth, she is there for putting information on the table. She never judges anyone. She always is patient when somebody doesn't understand. You remember when Willem made this controversial comments about trans men, and Courtney was there and calmed down and said, well, don't worry, I'm not judging you, but let me explain a couple of things about it. You know, she has this kind of poise, and if you know her, it's really strange to see her portrayed as a villain. She had a ton of problems because of it. She actually said that she had taken years to rebuild her public image, because let's not forget, when the person that is there is always the same, but the way people relate to you is as if you are someone else, it's also kind of distressing psychologically, because it's like you're not even there. They are putting an image on you that is the one they saw on television, and you don't even feel like yourself anymore. It's, you know, this, but we are kind of devolving into the psychology of public image and so on. So what happened to Courtney? Well, she has probably one of the most successful career of all the queens out there. She won Celebrity Big Brother UK. She did Dancing with the Stars. She was host of the Bi Life, sorry. So she doesn't need Drag Race. Much like Bianca Del Rio, for example. These are queens that will never put their public image in the hands of someone like World of Wonder. And you know what we're talking about. Why would they do that? They have a career that will probably grant her more than $1 million per year, probably much more than that. Why would they risk ruining the career for the rest of their life for $100,000? There was an interview with Bianca Del Rio when she said, yes, I would come back for All Stars if they gave me at least $2 million, if I remember correctly, because that is the price of it, and it's still a huge risk. You know, it's still a huge risk. So she would never do All Stars. She will never do it. But if she wanted, she would never be welcome. She would never be welcome for it. And if you're thinking, is that because she supported Robbie Turner after the Uber crash? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh about it. No, this is not the reason. It's not because she supported Robbie Turner. It's because of the Shemale controversy. That's it. She was one of the queens who chimed in support of Carmen and in support of the trans community. She spoke out, and you know how Courtney Act is. When she speaks out, she doesn't insult anyone. She doesn't make tons of sentences without punctuations and a lot of exclamation points. She is poised. She gets her point across in a respectful and educated manner. And that is the problem. So what happened? She was blocked by RuPaul on Twitter. That's what happened. So as you may know, at some point Willem even chimed in saying she's still not going to unblock you when she made a tweet about listening to a Diana Ross song. So, this is not something, this is a strange side of RuPaul. And the fact, again, I'm going to remark on this point again, the fact that she portrays herself like literally as a gay Jesus, makes these kind of things shine even more. It really puts the attention on it because the contrast is so huge, So maybe there is another reason why she blocked Courtney, but what everyone believes and what I personally believe is that because she was supporting someone who basically enforced a change in the show. Because after that, whenever Ru would come on screen in the show, she would say, she already done her rehearsals. That phrase changed. That mini challenge is gone. Unless you have access to one of those older episodes, you will never see it. You will never see it online. So this movement forced a change. So I think it's really believable that she was blocked because of this. And that's not just it. Because at some point in an interview, she doubled down. What did she do? What was her crime? Okay, what was Courtney Act's crime? Her crime was saying, I've chosen to focus on the legend of RuPaul. Just like with everyone, there is a legend and there is a human. She is breaking the wall. She is making a difference in the high of the public opinion. She's making a difference in saying, when you look at that, it's not just the legend that you see. There is also a person behind it. Make a difference between the two and understand the difference. She broke the illusion. Now, this phrase is really small. This sentence is really small, but it's extremely powerful in setting into people's mind that RuPaul is a person. And like every person, has its flaws. So if it has its flaws, but what we see on television is what we see on television, then you start asking yourself some questions. Is it true? Is it fake? Is it for money? So you understand that something like this cannot go down lightly. RuPaul needs to be seen as a legend. That's why the show works. You don't need to see the person. Well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it a little bit more when we go on, but you don't need to see the person behind the curtain. You have to focus on the legend. And you have to focus on the fact that whatever you see on Drag Race is real. How real it is? Well, that depends on the definition of real. That depends on your definition of real. Why? Well, because everything that you see on Drag Race really happened. That is for sure. Queens said the things that they said because they wanted to say them. They were on video saying them. So these things really happened. But the question that you must ask yourself is this an accurate depiction of reality? Because the only answer that you can have is no. RuPaul's Drag Race is not an accurate depiction of reality. The things that you say will be taken out of context, mixed down, and make it appear as something that they originally were not. And the show relies on the illusion that everything you see is real. And if you break that illusion, you will pay the price for it. Because that undermines the very foundation of the success of the show. So this is Courtney Act's crime. And she's not the only one. Because on the top of the list, we have people who have done just this. So, moving on. Next queen. Should we take a pause? Should we go to the chat? Let's go to the chat a little bit. Let's see if we see something interesting. Come on, sassy people. Corinne said, I've been really enjoying the non-RuPaul spin-offs. UK was absolutely brilliant. Yes, I enjoyed UK. I enjoyed it. Prices were not so interesting, the pin and so on, but That RPDR channel. I haven't watched Thailand yet. Me neither. Fantasia said it's really, really good. My partner says it's really, really good. I'm keeping it for the dark times. You know, when you're home and you have nothing to watch and you know that RuPaul's Drag Race Thailand is there. Yeah, it's really good. Karomai73 says RuPaul is not likable and fake and a very bad actress. I completely agree. She's terrible. If you've seen her work, like before Drag Race, she's terrible. I felt that even before hearing or read it. I have a very negative vibes from her from day one. Like 20 years ago? Oh, Caro. Yeah, I mean, just a small comment on RuPaul to close this, to make this thing go full circle, and then we go on with the list. And I just forgot it, which is great. That's great. Oh my God. Damn, what did I want to say? I swear it was something smart. At least it sounded smart in my mind. What is it? Well, maybe if it's important, it will come back to my mind. My God, I'm getting old, guys. You think you're probably how old are you guys? Like 20, 18, maybe younger. Someday you'll get old and you'll know exactly what I mean when I say I forget things. Oh my God. So, I completely forgot. It's not coming back to my mind. So let's move on with the list, shall we? Next up is yours truly, Delta Work. Now, do you guys know what's going on with Delta? And I will give you. Oh my God, I'm starting to lose words. It's not even an hour. I'm already blanking out. It's not because she's part of the production. That's not why she will never be on All Stars. It's because a ton of other things happened behind the scenes. Now, as you know, Delta competed on season 3. Somebody liked her, some others don't like her. But if you remember, during the audition tapes, when RuPaul interviewed Delta, she complimented her for her makeup and wig. So what happened? In season 9, I think after episode 2, the person who was doing RuPaul's hair and makeup, Matthew Anderson, he left the job. Now, at the time, nobody knew what happened to Matthew. He was the one who cared for the way Ru looked since basically the beginning of Drag Race. He was a legend. Everyone knew about him. If you look back, like at season 2, season 3, when they basically have no filters for the show, and take a look at Ru's makeup, Ru's hairline, Ru's style, all of her looks were, I don't know, they were cohesive. They told a story and they were so well executed. I mean, Matthew was an absolute legend. He never got an Emmy for his work. And if you look at Delta's and Raven's work, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a bad job, okay? It's a passable job, but when it's compared to Matthew, it's completely different. Nevertheless, Matthew, for whatever reason, and maybe we'll talk about the reason later, maybe we won't, he left the show. So Delta and Raven were called in. Raven for makeup and Delta for wig stylings. Now, Delta won an Emmy for her work on season 10, for the episode 10s Across the Board. She won an Emmy for her styling, so it looked like everything was great. Everything was absolutely great with Delta. The problem is that if you looked at the credits, she didn't work on AJ and the Queen, and she didn't work on season 12. Now, why is that? If she is so good that she won an Emmy, why the hell didn't they call her back? Now, of course, I cannot give you an answer to that because of all of these things are shrouded in secrecy and vague booking, if it's the correct word. There is a ton of speculations. I can give you speculations. That I can give them to you. Now, Delta made this post not so long ago, lamenting the fact that she was not nominated for her work on season 11. So I don't know how the Emmy process works, but I can give you the TLDR on the story. It looks like the workers on the show are themselves responsible at some level into pushing their nomination through with the Emmy Awards. So one side is saying Delta did not do her job. And so the nomination was simply it didn't go to the commission. On the other side, you have Delta saying, well, it was not my job, you had to do it, it was your responsibility. So basically Delta didn't have a chance to compete for an Emmy for her work on season 11. And that already put a crack on the relationship. But if that wasn't enough, at some point there was Delta went, sorry, I'm losing, oh shit, I need to drink, I'm falling asleep. I'm sorry guys, it's midnight, I slept 4 hours last night and I prepared the stream the whole day. I'm bound to black out at some point. My god, this is so unprofessional. So, Race Chasers. If you don't know, it's a podcast made by Willem and Alaska. They spill a ton of tea from time to time. They have, most of the time, in my opinion, some kind of misinformed opinions. They could do much better, but I appreciate it, nevertheless. I don't listen to it very often, but sometimes, especially when they have guests, they spill a ton of tea. And this time they had Delta, and Delta had a ton of things to say about this. So I want to thank the user Here for the Tea on Reddit for making how can I say, a TLDR on what's going on, because I had absolutely no time to listen to the whole podcast. So basically, what Delta is saying is that, of course, she's talking about the Emmy, the problem with the Emmy nomination, but she also lamented the fact that Ru supposedly wasn't happy with her work with the weeks, but she never told her anything. She never gave her feedback. Of course, this is what Delta is saying, or even better, this is what the user Here for the Tea is reporting on the podcast made by Delta. So you see why we don't talk about drama on this channel, because you get crazy. You have someone quoting someone else who is making an allegation about something that may or may not have happened. It gets crazy. It gets crazy. But we need to talk about this. We absolutely need to talk about this, because this is one of the reasons why we will never see, in our opinion, of course, Delta work on All Stars. So moving on, she said that she has a doubt, saying maybe this thing happened because I spoke about Matthew Anderson in her Emmy speech. And don't forget the name Matthew, because it will come back again. It will come back again, because there are things going on there. And so she proceeded during the podcast into bashing Ru with Willem. So you can imagine how the thing went down. So what is the TLDR? Well, they basically told what everybody knows already, that Ru doesn't give a shit about the queens. Now, it's a running joke that Ru doesn't even remember the names of the queens who compete. But you know what the problem is there again? RuPaul has this image of a mother, somebody who is a light for the community, somebody who created this family and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Well, that kind of family looks kind of dysfunctional to me. I mean, I come from a dysfunctional family as well, but at least it's a kind of dysfunctional family in which you can find some sort of, how can I say, anchors in a way, because it really comes out of love. What's going on with RuPaul, in my opinion, it comes out of wanting money. And that's it. So she's basically saying what everybody has been saying all along, that RuPaul is basically fake and it's all a charade. There is no such thing as a family, and there is no such thing as caring. There is business, and that's it. Of course, these are all opinions based on allegations. So please don't sue me. That's the last thing I need. That's the last thing I need. Making a video about the lawsuit with Neverland gave me almost a heart attack. So please don't sue me. And let's keep it at that. So there is this recurring thing with RuPaul. And queens are starting to speak out. But you see what's interesting here, that only the queens who already burned the bridge with World of Wonder will speak out against RuPaul. And this whole thing comes from this image, this continuous image on which the brand is inexorably bonded with, that it's about family, that it's about being part of a community, which is an amazing message. It's a beautiful message. This is one of the reasons I fell in love with the show so many years ago. But then you have to carry out what you preach. You cannot do some kind of shit. You simply cannot do it. You know, RuPaul has done some incredible things in her life. We have to give her credit for that. She and World of Wonder basically made drag a viable career, like a viable career, that you can live with it. And they brought to national and international attention. Nobody will ever take that out from her, take that away from her. But you also have to understand one thing. People are not mathematical formula. The amount of good that you do cannot be used to counterbalance the amount of shit that you do. Of course, it has a weight. It needs to be taken into consideration, but it's not a mathematical formula. You cannot say, oh, she did 1,000 good, so I can subtract the 150 bad and say we have 850. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Of course, it goes into account that she is basically a legend, but also this must be taken into account. Because it's so much coming from so many people, and you can say whatever you want with it, but everything around the legend of RuPaul smells, in my opinion, like shit. So I will acknowledge the fact that she is a legend. I will also acknowledge the fact that I'm completely addicted to this show, but I will not use that as an excuse not to talk about this. Because she is a human and she should present herself as a human, like she is presenting her contestants as a human. We will understand. We will understand. Just talk about your motivations. Open up. What's the problem with it? It's the brand of the show to open up. How can everybody open up on the show but RuPaul? Somebody explain me that, because I don't understand it. Dear God. So this is what came out of that podcast. Now there are some rumors, and these are rumors. I absolutely need to point that these are rumors. I in no way can independently verify if this information is true. But the rumor goes that basically when they started filming AJ and the Queen, one of the rules was that everybody working for the show had to be part of a union. And Delta and Raven were not part of a union. The rumor goes on saying that Delta refused to be part of a union, so she was scrapped for AJ and the Queen. When the show resumed for season 12, what happened is that they basically kept everyone who was already part of a union. They unionized, let's say it like this. They had all the people working for Drag Race were part of a union, which is a good thing. I mean, when you look at unions, of course, you will see that there are some things that are not so convenient and so on. But let's say in the larger perspective, it's really a good thing that queer people are part of a union. Most of all because they will get paid. Okay, maybe they will have to give part of their proceeds to the union and so on, but they will get paid at least a minimum. You have some guarantees. So Delta was not asked to come back, and that's it. And she was not really happy about it. And I repeat, these are rumors. So if you want to go and dig around all this mess, and it is a mess, it's a rabbit hole. If you want to go and dig around, by all means, go and dig around. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, come on the Discord, do whatever you want, bring receipts. If it's interesting, we'll talk about it again. But for the moment, this is basically drama and rumors. So I will keep it at that. Now, moving on. Our next queen is Willem. Of course it's Willem. Now, a ton of things could be said about Willem. In the years since she appeared on season 4, which was 8 years ago, she spilled a ton of tea, from lamenting the fact that there was no security on set because cables were left uncovered, for example, or talking about how she felt that the race was completely rigged because Sharon Needles was allowed to refilm her entrance. And when Willem asked and said, well, can I refilm my entrance as well? They simply said no, at least according to Willem. What else did she do? She spoke about the real reason why she was disqualified. You know that they had all this story about, oh yes, I received a visit from my husband and it was a delivery and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And Willem came out and said, well, that story, it came out during our small conference. It was built. It was not the real reason. Now, the rumor on the real reason is that she had another gig. She understood what was going on. She understood that she had no chance. So she had another gig, and I thought, you know what? Let's get disqualified. I can go back to do my other gig, and why not? It's also crazy to be disqualified on Drag Race. This, you know. Willem was one of the first queens to come out and start breaking this image of unreal reality that is portrayed on this show. And that is an unforgivable sin. But I mean, we can spend hours, literally. We can stay here until tomorrow morning still talking about the amount of tea that Willem spilled and the amount of shit that she talked. So, oh, we have a comment. Delta Schlin said, you know that Hua sells pins that read All Stars Never. Hua will be the star of one of our upcoming videos. So we're going to talk about her. Moving on back to Willem. What I want to talk about is the most recent thing about Willem. There is no doubt that she will never be on All Stars. You remember she received a casting call for All Stars 1, and then they said, well, we don't really need you, and then she got a bit upset about it. She made a song, RuPaul's. It's great. Go listen to it. I've listened to it over the years many times. And Matthew was making her makeup, was taking care of her makeup for that video. So just to ring the bell again. More recently, of course, Willem was one of the hosts for the Race Chasers podcast, in which Delta spilled all that tea. And not only that, she made a post tagging Drag Race and World of Wonder about how everybody turned around Delta. Family, and she said, quote, family my ass. And you know that, you know, I cannot say you know that she's speaking the truth. I would like to say it, but I cannot. So she's speaking my truth. Let's say it like this. But you can see the moment she goes against the brand so much, you can already understand she will never ever have a chance to be part of anything going around. Oh, by the way, Willem was nominated for an Emmy. I don't know if she won. I don't think she won, but she was nominated for an Emmy in her own right. So good for her. Now, what's the interesting thing that has been going on with Willem? I don't think any of you know about this. I found out about this today. I gotta be honest. I got the last of the material for this. This video, whatever. This live stream today. So I found it out today. Anybody want to take a guess? A wild guess? I'll give you a hint. It's about RuPaul. Of course it's about RuPaul. And it's not about the fracking. Incredible, isn't it? Incredible. By the way, talking about fracking, there was an excellent article which was basically shilling. Oh, I talked about it already in the last stream. Damn, I'm getting old. D15 said she's being sued. I hope not. But you know that her husband is a lawyer. So, Luis Felipe, hold the fracking. No, it's not the fracking. Karumai73. Is it the RuPaul masterclasses? That's because, Karu, it's because you don't love yourself. Don't you know it? It's your inner saboteur. It's always your inner saboteur. Chi-chi-chis, because of Gaga. No, it's not because of Gaga. Corinne Mercury, I thought Willem divorced her husband. She did? I mean, I'm not informed on this. I'm not into the gossip circle. You have to understand that. So I don't know. She did? I have no idea. I had no idea. It's her ex-husband, said Sasha. Oh my God. Well, you cannot know everything. Absolutely. I'm living proof. No, moving on. That's not the reason. The reason is I want you to picture, okay? For a moment, close your eyes and imagine that you are in LA. You are in LA and you are taking your dog for a walk. Because of course you take your dog out for a walk. Because, you know, dogs have their needs and you take some fresh air. Maybe you smoke a cigarette. And so you're on the walkway with your dog and then you turn your face and your attention to the left. And what you see is RuPaul in the car yelling at Willem. Fuck you. And Willem yelling back. Fuck you too, bitch. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's classy. It's classy, isn't it? So, do you remember? Calm down. We can make it. So, do you remember that I've been kind of dropping hints about Matthew Anderson this whole time, during this whole video? That is because, according to Willem, Matthew was put under care for a reason that I don't know. This happened in 2016. And incredibly, also according to Willem and according to this article, World of Wonder or RuPaul or both of them, they were paying for it. So, you know, there was at least this tentative things of keeping the family together, let's say it like this. Now, Matthew and Ru didn't exactly have, again, according to Willem, a kind of a smooth relationship, you know. Matthew was the kind of man that would speak back. He would speak his mind. He would challenge RuPaul. He wouldn't just sit back and say, yes, yes, yes. Yes, Mama Ru. Yes, we do it. Yes, of course. He was not that kind of guy. So you can understand that all these things coupled together were a kind of explosive mixture. So what happened? It happened that Willem went to visit Matthew because she said that she went multiple times to visit him, see how he is. As I told you before, she collaborated with him even outside of Drag Race, so there was a relationship there. So she went to see how he was doing from time to time. And one time he asked for RuPaul and said, "Where is Ru? Why is he not coming?" And so basically Willem got RuPaul in the street, and she said, "What the fuck? Didn't you go to see how Matthew is doing?" And of course, according to Willem, again, my God, I have to say these things 1,000 times. According to Willem, basically she said that RuPaul didn't give a fuck. She confronted her about it, and RuPaul, of course, felt like, how dare you? How dare you telling me things like this? And the thing ended the way it ended. But I mean, isn't it fucking crazy that you walk in the street and you see, it's already crazy enough that you walk in the street and you see Willem. Okay, I've never even been at a drag show to see these queens because I'm not in the U.S. So it would be already crazy to see Willem. And then you see RuPaul. And then you see them telling each other to fuck off. I mean, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. It's crazy. It's completely crazy. So there are 1,001 reasons why Willem will never be on All Stars. But in my mind, this is why she will never be in All Stars. Because she's the one who told RuPaul to go fuck herself. Dear God. Dear God. I mean, Willem has done a ton of shit in his own right. But when he goes down, he really digs into it. He really digs into it. So this is crazy. This is completely crazy. So of course, Willem talked about this in a podcast on Race Chasers. We have to thank the user Orange is the New Black on Reddit for a very brief TLDR on what she said about it. And it's basically what I explained to you right now. So, and the cherry on top. At the time, RuPaul was taping the Christmas special. Do you remember the Christmas special? The one that basically nobody watched because it was a huge plug for her next album. Yes, that one. You can find it if you dig enough. If you dig enough online, you can find it. I can think of 1,000,001 reason why you shouldn't watch it and how you can spend your time better. But, you know, it's your time. Who am I to tell you what to do with your time? After all, you're here listening me for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I should be the last one to give judgment on that. Now, moving on. Oh, dear God, I need a cigarette. Oh, shit. Oh. Who's next? Oh, we're almost there. We have 3 queens left. Dear God. Corinne said, top RPDR videos take a break. You know, if you guys don't mind, please take pity on me. Please take pity on me. I need to smoke a cigarette. My voice is already going low, and a cigarette would absolutely be the cherry on top. Now, do I have something to play on the stream while we wait for me to smoke a cigarette and be disrespectful of my audience? Absolutely. Absolutely. We have Un Petit Peu. Royalty-free classical music? No, not classical music. Royalty-free music. Let's keep it on royalty-free. What do we have? What do we have? Let's go with the good old Nimbus. 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes, and I will absolutely be back. So see you in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I have my Red Bull, I smoked my cigarette, I'm recharged, I feel like a new person. To be honest. Like everybody says, to be honest. Because we're all honest, aren't we? Oh my god. I became so negative all of a sudden. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Now, moving on. Some of you already are naming this queen. It's Tyra. It's Tyra. Now, before we talk about Tyra for a moment, I want to make a premise, okay? It looks to me, and this is my personal impression, that she's dealing with some kind of mental problems. This is my impression. It's based on what I see on the other side of the screen, which means basically nothing. Okay, so I'm not bestowing judging upon anybody, but it looks like she's troubled. And when you look back at Tyra Sanchez, she's kind of, I never talk about her because, you know, it's a kind of controversial and also sad story, because she was one of the first winners. She won season 2. She was a beautiful queen. She absolutely killed the competition at the time. She had a brilliant career ahead of her. Yet everything went downhill for one reason or another. We can speculate, of course. We can speculate about a ton of things, but in a way, I don't think, I don't feel good talking about it. it feels a little bit inappropriate. So there is a ton of other things we can talk about it. Let's not delve too much into what has been going on with Tyra. You can Google, Google is your best friend, and you can find out everything that you need to know. Now, I will give you the TLDR on what happened with Tyra. Basically, this comes from Reddit. It comes from a Reddit called /r/RPDR drama, which is, well, the name speaks for itself. But, you need to give credit where credit is due. So basically, what happened is that at some point back in 2018, if I remember correctly, Tyra went on Instagram Live, and basically she made physical threats toward Fifi O'Hara and maybe even Jiggly. I was looking for that Instagram Live, I couldn't find it, so I cannot independently verify this. But this is what's been claimed in the posts from the time. So what happened is that based on this, World of Wonder contacted Tyra. And she said, listen, we cannot condone any kind of violence or any kind of allusion toward violence, so you need to make an apology. And it has to be a sincere apology. It cannot be, like a sherry pie apology. It needs to be a sincere apology, it needs to be public, and so on. And Tyra doubled down and basically responded that she didn't owe an apology to anyone. So what happened is that she was banned from DragCon. Now, if you know what went on. Basically, Tyra made a ton of posts alluding, and I'm saying alluding, about an attack, a possible attack on DragCon. We have to speak code words here on YouTube. So what happened is that she started posting warnings to not go to DragCon, saying, don't say I didn't warn you, get a refund, it's better to be safe than sorry. And then this image with a countdown and spelled BOOM. So what did everybody think about this? Well, it looked like this was kind of serious. It looked like the person went out of her mind and maybe was going to do something crazy. Now, a lot of people called in for a bluff, but you also have to understand one thing. This is not real life in the kind of real life that you have between you and your friends. This is real life that has to do with public image. So the fact that something is real or looks real, it makes no difference when it comes to public image. It makes a difference in your personal life. There it makes a difference. But when it comes to public image, there is absolutely no difference. If it looks like, then it is. So this, let's call them threats, were taken very seriously, to the point where Tyra was actually contacted by the police. Now, if I remember correctly, she failed to respond to this, and the police came to her house, if I remember correctly. This was a huge deal. This was absolutely a huge deal. Now, what happens is that after all this craziness that happened with Tyra, she came out and said, no, you have misunderstood. My posts were a form of art. Now, I don't know how I feel about this, but I want to ask you a question. Does a statement like this, in your opinion, reflect the state of mind of a person who is in complete control of everything that's going on around her? Because it looks to me like the kind of excuse that you put out there when you cannot even admit what's going on to yourself. I mean, it's crazy. It's completely crazy what's been going on with Sarah. It's so sad. In a way, it's also really sad to me because, this could have been another chance for somebody to take advantage of this situation, to point the attention and open up about a problem that surely affects a ton of other people. I mean, who in the chat right now has has ever been triggered online by a comment or by someone, because it happens to everybody. It's the new thing of the internet. People are triggering each others. That's what happens. Like it or not, that's what you have to deal with whenever you expose yourself online. We see this with the channel. I have a ton of comments of people telling me, for example, "Oh, your video is shit. I don't like your voice. I don't like your accent. This is terrible." You know, because the fact that you are behind the screen somehow takes away the humanity of people, especially when they relate to each other. It's an inevitable consequence of the illusion of closeness that we have from relating to each other through a screen, because it's only an illusion. People too often forget that there are real people on the other side, and people get affected by it. And public people like queens like Tyra Sanchez, they get the worst of it. We see it happening every single year. Whenever there is a villain depicted on the season of Drag Race, we see what happens on social media, don't we? That's one of the reasons why we started making the Chop live streams and deconstructing the edits to basically show that, yes, this person said what she said, but there is a ton of other things that make her look much worse than she is. That there is so much going around this. I could spend literally hours trying to make sense of this situation and trying to bring a little bit of humanity to the people who do these kind of things. I do not condone what Tyra did, especially in the climate that we were having 2 years ago and the years before that, and even right now. So it's unforgivable to make this kind of quote threats. But you know, I'm also open to the fact that there is a person with a problem on the other side. At least that's what it looks to me. So I always find the story of Tyra Sanchez extremely saddening in this manner. So you can imagine, after something like this, World of Wonder will never have any kind of ties to RuPaul, to Tyra. There is absolutely no chance. She looks like she's unstable. She did a ton of controversial thing. She quit drag, then she got into drag again, then she picked up fights, then she just so much happened around Tyra. And when you have more than 140, I think we are already at 150 queens, you know, there are other choices. That's as simple as that. There are easy storylines that you can portray on television for people to consume the same way they consume their lunch, without a second thought and without a moment of, if I might say it, respect. Because, you know, at some point you have to come to the conclusion that you are allowed to consume a TV show. But then when the show is over, you know, when the credits roll, let's not forget that there are people. So, of course, the story of Tyra is not over, because I don't know if you know this, but she got arrested. This happened last August, not even 2 months ago. She got arrested for vandalism. What basically happened is that she wrote some graffiti on someone else's home. She got caught. She got a mugshot. And it happened on TMZ. So you know TMZ, you know, it doesn't look good. I'm sorry, I cannot talk too much about this. It's really, it's in a way it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. So let's keep it at that, okay? Let's move on. Let's move on to something funnier. Let's move on to Max. Now, if you remember Max was a kind of revelation in a way. When season 7 came along, it was a moment of transition for Drag Race. Why do I say that? Well, because season 6 already finished airing, and Bianca was there, and Courtney Act was there, and Adore Delano was there, and the show was growing like crazy. The show was actively going mainstream. So when season 7 came along, they did, during the season, a ton of, how can I say, it looks like they tried to bring the season to the next level, if you know what I mean, before backing down with season 8 and then moving in a complete different direction the moment they moved to VH1. But in a way, it looks to me, when I look back at season 7, it looks like one of the more daring season, if you will. And one of the great star of season 7 was Max. People went completely nuts about Max. You couldn't say anything, not even a legitimate critique, that people will basically hate you alive. It was completely crazy. She had such a huge potential, but the problem is with Max that she committed the ultimate sin. And what is the ultimate sin? Well, if you've been listening for me talking for 1 hour and a half, you know that she broke the illusion. You know what happened with Max when she was eliminated. We made a video. Well, she was featured. It's called Blame It on the Edit. A video that was conveniently taken down for alleged copyright infringement before being reinstated by YouTube. So, yes, I'm still pissed about that. I'm kind of still pissed about that. So, for those of you who haven't seen season 7, let me give you the quick TLDR. So, basically, the episode that Max was eliminated, there, the judges are giving their critique, and at some point Max doesn't feel good. Okay, she needs to lose her corset. She cannot breathe, and we see this image on the left. Immediately after this, we cut to RuPaul saying, "Max, do you feel well?" or something like this. "Are you okay? Do you feel well? Is everything okay?" After that, we get a cut, and we have Max singing. And if you notice, I put an arrow there. A bottle magically appears on the stairs next to Max. So you know that something was in the middle and was cut away. But for the casual viewers, what happened was that Max went completely nuts. Out of the blue, she started singing. There was a shot of RuPaul looking all concerned, like, "What the hell are you doing? Are you out of your mind?" And you know, when I watched the episode, I didn't notice the bottle. Okay, I have to be honest. When I watched the episode the first time, I thought, what the fuck happened with Max? I completely bought into that before I watched it again and realized there was some convenient cut in between the three pieces of footage. So this thing was absolutely fake. Max did sing, but she didn't explode singing out of the blue. And that we can say it for a fact. This never happens on this channel. Every time I talk to you, I always say, well, this is a rumor or this is an allegation. This is a fact. Max didn't come out singing out of the blue. And she talked about this. She broke the illusion in an interview when she basically explained everything that happened. You know, when you are on during the production, what they told the queens was, if there's any problem, give us a gesture, we can stop. Because what people don't realize on the other side of the screens is that these queens stay in drag for hours. For us, it's 10 minutes on the main stage. For them, it's probably 3 or 4 hours of filming. So if they start wearing tight corsets, it can really become a problem over time. Not to mention how uncomfortable it probably is to stay in drag for so long on your feet. Maybe doing a maxi challenge, you know, but basically they have this rule because this kind of things happen a lot more than you think on set. So basically what happened that she asked to stop, and at some point RuPaul asked her to sing. This is what Max is saying. In order to, I think, this is my assumption, I think in order to open her diaphragm again. That's why singing helps when you start to feel this kind of shortness of breath due to compression. And so she started singing a line from A Star Is Born. Now, a ton of people commented on the video say, how is that possible? A Star is Born came out so many years later. Well, that's because there are 4 remakes of A Star is Born. So, it's like a 60, 70-year-old film, at least the original one. So Max spoke out. And need I remind you, if Willem was the first queen to actually speak out against production, Max was the very first queen to speak out about the non-reality of reality television, especially on Drag Race. Because she broke the illusion. She said it's fake. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. This is what happened. And you know that if you watched some other of our videos where we talked about the contracts, you know that in the contract, if the queens spoke ill of the show and they damage the image of the show, they agreed by contract of paying millions of dollars back. So charges were not pushed against Max for what she said. And she should be grateful for that, because based on the contract, she was completely fucked. But the problem is that the production is not going to forget about this, because, and this is something that not everyone knows, but after this article came out, World of Wonder admitted to what really happened during Max's elimination. They posted this tweet on the RuPaul's Drag Race account saying, to pass the time during this break, Mama Ru asked Max to sing a few bars. So they had to confirm that Max was asked to sing. So for all the people out there saying that maybe this didn't really happen, and I'm talking about what Max was saying, that it was basically Max talking back because he was upset that he was eliminated and so on. No, absolutely no. He was asked to sing. He pays the price for talking out about it. And they admitted that he was asked to sing. Now, if you give me a moment, my chat completely froze. I need to open another window. Otherwise, I cannot see your comments. So give me a brief moment and we can continue. Sometimes YouTube makes things so difficult for no apparent reason. Oh. Come on. And I still don't get the chat. Fantastic. Okay, here we are. Finally. So you see, the ultimate sin when you are competing on Drag Race is to break the illusion. And Max is going to pay the price for it. So I don't think we will ever see Max on Drag Race, on All Stars again, even though Max initially said that she wouldn't do All Stars because she wouldn't. Am I having a problem on streaming? Because YouTube is getting crazy on me. Can you guys hear me? Damn. I don't know what the hell is going on with YouTube tonight. I'm so sorry for the interruption, but I'm not sure you are receiving me. That's the problem. At least YouTube is telling me that that the stream is not buffering. Yes? Yes. Okay, yes. The video froze a bit for me, but it's back to normal now. I can hear. Okay, fantastic. So YouTube is simply getting crazy on its own. Oh my God. Well, let's be grateful that we have a platform. So you see, this is the real problem with it. Not only Max went on and talked about something that she shouldn't have talked about, but she's also one of the first queen to actually force their hand, because they had to come out and say, well, it was fake. It was fake. So I don't think we will ever see Max again. She came back again. I think it was last year when she said, at this point in my career, I would probably take it, if I remember correctly, but I don't think she will ever be invited back. There is absolutely no chance. When you have so many queens to choose from, you don't choose the one who bad-mouthed you. That's the problem. That's simply the problem. So, moving on. We have one last queen to talk about. Do you know who she is? Because she's a very well-known queen. And she is one of my personal favorite queens. What I like about these queens is that when I first saw her on television, I absolutely disliked her. I thought she was, in a way, a fraud. She was not talented. I was not impressed. I thought she was all about looks. And boy, I was wrong. Oh, I was wrong. Because in time, she proved out to be a queen with two massive, massive balls. Extremely talented, outspoken, and in a way, absolutely fearless. Absolutely fearless. And in the years that came since she appeared on Drag Race, I developed a renewed respect for her. And of course, many of you already know who I'm talking about. It's Pearl. Now, what about Pearl? We can talk literally for hours about Pearl. Now, what do I mean when I say that I didn't like her in the beginning? Well, that's because, do you remember that controversial lip sync against Trixie? Well, a lot of people were defending Pearl. I personally think that there was no argument about it. I hated the fact that it looked like the production was pushing her. And I kept watching season 7 thinking, why are they pushing her so much? Is it because she's good looking? Because let's be honest, when she appeared on season 7, she was one of the best looking boys doing drag that ever appeared on the show. Like literally, people went nuts for Pearl. But not because of who Pearl is, but because of the way Pearl looked. And that is the way, it's the same for me, just the opposite. I didn't like Pearl, not because of who she was, because I didn't know who she was. It was because of the way she looked on television, like someone who was pushed without really deserving it. And as you know, I am not afraid to change my mind if I get new information. And Pearl was absolutely incredible. She did some incredible things. Let's immediately dive over it. So I want to bring your attention to one of the most famous moments from season 7. Do you remember this moment? It's when basically RuPaul went to Pearl and she was talking about the challenge for the episode, and she said something to the lines of, Pearl, how are you going to approach this challenge? Because you are you have a lot of big personalities around you, and you don't have a big personality, so how are you going to do this? And Pearl stared at her for a hot minute. That was not a freeze frame. That was a hot minute. If you watch back, take a look at it. It was not a repeated moment. It was like probably 10 or 15 seconds of silence. And then Pearl said to RuPaul, is there something on my face? So when that moment came along, I started smelling something with Pearl. There is something under it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from, but I know that there is something. So that's when I started to suspect that the image that I had of Pearl was in a way flawed. It was not representative of the person. So while I still didn't like the kind of edit that she received on the show, I started to suspect there was something more going on. Because you have to understand, season 7 was was really that moment of transition for the show. And the show was at its my God, I need to drink something. What the hell is going on with my voice? Starting to lose my voice. So, what drew my curiosity was the fact that she dared to speak back at RuPaul. And the golden rule on the show is that you do not speak back to RuPaul. You don't do that. If you want to have a career, you don't do it. So to me, she projected this image of someone, you know, why would you do something like that? Because in my opinion, if you do something like that, you are kind of desperate. You must be desperate. You must be so desperate that you don't give a shit about your future. At the moment, your priority is dealing with the present. There is no space for the future at all. So what would drive you to that point of desperation? That is what this moment said to me. And that is what intrigued me in a way. That is how I started to change my opinion. That continues in the year that passed since season 7. So, what happened after season 7? Well, Pearl spoke out. And as you know, following in Mac's footsteps, she broke the illusion. Because she talked about what RuPaul told her on set. And RuPaul said, according to Pearl, nothing you say matters unless that camera is rolling. Now I want you to imagine what's going on. So we have a person that we already assessed that for some reason is not really in a comfortable place, at least in her mind, because she doesn't really care. She looks like she doesn't really care for her future. She looks like she is so drawn into what's going on in her present that she has no eyes to her future. She looks like she's in a state of mind, in a desperate state of mind. And she was. Years later, in a video, she opened up about what was going on with her. Watch that video. It's on Pearl's channel. It's really an eye-opener. I think it's called The Truth About My Past. Watch it, really. It's one of the best 20 minutes that you can spend. So imagine this person seeing what she considered an idol and, you know, taking advantage of the moment. And, you know, they're not really filming. It's a moment of pause. And so you take advantage of the moment and you go to your idol and you express the things that you always wanted to say to your idol. And she responds, it doesn't matter because it's not on camera. So this is the moment when Pearl realized that whatever she thought of RuPaul, that was not a complete picture. There was a person behind it. Do you remember what I told you before about Courtney? How she made the separation between RuPaul the legend and RuPaul the person? Pearl did exactly the same. And on top of that, she exposed the person as someone who looks like she doesn't give a shit about the contestants. What she cares, it's about making a show. Why? Well, we can speculate about it, but I can tell you my personal assumption is because of fame and because of money. Because remember, kids, in life, whenever you don't know the answer to a question, I suggest that the first possible answer that you start to evaluate is money. So, this is something that we didn't know at the time, but this triggered RuPaul in a way that she looks like she was never triggered before. Because we have, they did a podcast where they talked about Pearl, and Pearl made a video about this. And this is, please understand, when I say that she has massive balls, she's a queen with massive balls, it's because of that video. Now, years later, Michelle Visage, of which I have very little admiration, I have respect, but no admiration. She tried to rephrase this "nothing you say matters unless the camera is rolling." She tried to give it a kind of a spin, if you will, saying that, well, that's not what Ru meant, really. What she meant is something like, whatever you have to say, keep it, don't say it if the cameras are not rolling, because otherwise we cannot capture the magic of the moment, we lose that, and we want to portray that for the show. And you might think, well, yeah, in a way, it sounds reasonable. Why not? Because if you say something spontaneous, then if the cameras are not rolling and it was something important, they can ask you to reenact that. And you lose something when you have to reenact that. This is in the contract, by the way. Yes. They might be asked to reenact. So, this thing seems legitimate, except years later, Pearl would make a video about a podcast. Which podcast, you might ask? Well, the podcast that we laughingly like to call Where the Fuck is the Tea? Because there is no tea to be seen. So, let's watch the video. Let's watch the video. Then we can talk about it.
I would try to hurt them.
No, you
hurt
wouldn't.
them, not physically,
Mentally,
not physically,
yeah.
but in a mental way that they could never recover from. I'm faking this whole thing of hey, no, I'm not faking. I can do that. That's truly me. On Drag Race, when Pearl said that thing, she said, "What? Do I have something on my face?"
Oh, how you held it back?
Well, I held it back because I was thinking, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking, I'm a producer of this, because what I wanted to say was different from what I did, because I thought, I knew she was going to be a popular character. I knew some of her backstory and her family life. I knew that there were things.
So there's a ton to unpack in this damn video. First of all, there's the queen who has no personality. Second of all, she is mocking RuPaul and Michelle Visage without saying a single word. And it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Please go to Pearl's channel and watch this video. It's really the best 3 minutes of your life. It's absolutely incredible. And not only that, but she also exposes Ru saying, I am faking my personality. Because you know that almost no one actually listened to that podcast. It was made years ago. Nobody even remembers. If they even listened to it, they wouldn't remember. And now, today in 2020, this podcast is relevant again because she brought it to everybody's attention. RuPaul saying to the microphone, "Oh, yeah, I'm faking. Oh, no, I'm not faking it. It's just, you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? If that's not a burn bridge, then I don't know what a burn bridge is." But the most important thing in this video is that you can hear RuPaul called Pearl a character. This is something that I've been telling you about since we began doing the streaming. When people are on reality TV, they are not people. They are characters. They cease to be characters. And I understand. I saw your comment. Where is it? I saw the comment. I understand what you mean when you say if it's not messy drama, people don't like it. And I completely agree with that, and I enjoy it as well. But one thing is starting your show with a disclaimer saying, listen, this is a heavily edited show. This is a dramatized show. It's not an accurate depiction of reality, so please enjoy it responsibly. So enjoy the drama. Enjoy the controversy, enjoy all of it. But remember, when the credits roll, real life is another thing. So you do understand, I hope you guys understand what I am saying. We can have dramatized situation, that's not a problem. I find it entertaining as well. What I don't find it entertaining is that it's passed as reality, without a warning. When you see people who have careers destroyed, they cannot pay their rent. because of the way they were exaggerated on reality. So, and Pearl is exposing all of this in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, there's everything you need to know. And then the most important thing of the whole video is RuPaul saying, I knew that Pearl had problems in her family. And if you watch Pearl's video, the one that says, the one where she talks about her past, and watch it, absolutely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I will not actually talk about it. Go watch the video. Go directly to the source. But RuPaul knew she had family problems. And this is interesting because this is the first time in her story when we see this happening on stage. This is the first time in which the contestants are asked to talk to their younger selves. Now, you can say that it's a coincidence, but I don't buy it. I don't buy it in the slightest. I don't buy it in the slightest. That's you know, when you have so much evidence pointing in one direction, you know what I personally do? I go in that direction. Because at least 99% of the time, I don't have to go back thinking that I took the wrong route. And it looks exploitative. It looks exploitative. Somewhere on the internet, there is a video that was shot with Pearl before her entrance, before she was doing her season 7 entrance. I don't know if I will ever find it. I think it completely disappeared from online, but if you can find it, watch it, because disturbing is the kindest way in which I can describe it. So I don't know what's going on and what has been going on during filming, but it smells like shit. I will be blunt. It's 1 a.m. and I will be blunt. It smells like shit. So you see, when there is so much going around Pearl, and Pearl doesn't give a shit. She will speak out. She spoke out. She mocked them. She exposed them. She will never, ever be part of anything even remotely related to World of Wonder, RuPaul, or maybe even VH1. She will be kept at distance, and for a good reason, because from a monetary perspective, they need to keep her at distance, because Pearl she looks like the kind of person who has nothing to lose, and maybe sadly, in a way, she still is in that kind of set of mind. I'm not here to bestow judgment, of course. I'm just talking about my personal impressions. So please understand that. It's just an impression. Now, there is something else about Pearl that I didn't talk to you about, something that happened 2 years ago. It was a video that was published on her YouTube channel. It was titled, "Nothing You Say Matters Unless the Cameras Are Rolling, Follow Up." Now this video, I followed the link for this video and it's been privated. And I think for a good reason, because I think she spilled a ton of tea in this video. But most importantly, at least according to some of the users on Reddit, this is from the RuPaul's Drag Race subreddit, some of the users that commented on this video, they said, and I quote, "Oh my God, a producer called her and told her she will never do All Stars." And another one continues, "I really admire Pearl's bravery for standing up against producers." And another one, "I'm shocked they literally sent a producer to call her and tell her that and tell her whole that as if she didn't already know that she was basically disqualified for any potential All-Star seasons." So it looks like, according to these people, let's be linear. According to these people on the subreddit who watched this video that it's now privated, this is getting crazy. She was called by a producer who directly told her, "You will never be on All Stars. So don't even think about it." This happened 2 years ago. The mocking video came out this year. So you do understand, you will never see Pearl related to the Drag Race brand. I don't know if she even comes to DragCon, to be honest. I don't know if she would be allowed. I have no idea. I have no idea. So give me your input if you have any, because I have no idea. And this is our list. This is a ton of shit, isn't it? It's in a way it's heartbreaking to break the illusion in this way. But it's also, I think it's also cathartic in a way. You know, I hope that whenever we talk about this kind of things, you leave this videos or this podcast or live streams, however you want to call them, with a renewed conscience about the way we consume media, the way we consume people represented in media, as if they really were a meal and nothing more. And there's nothing wrong with consuming people through media. It's something that's been done for generations in many different ways. We do it in a very technological way today, but it's still basically the same thing. What I think changed was that people lost awareness of the difference between consuming someone as part of a media and relating to the real person outside of the media, especially when it comes to reality television, because the name reality implies such a tie with what we call real life, and that tie is simply not there. It's something that at best it's inspired by real life, and then it's represented back at us in a way that it's the most entertaining possible, the most dramatized possible. But, you know, I still enjoy this show. I like Drag Race. I love it so much that we spend hours and hours of our time making videos and talking about it. What I'm missing is the fact that they are not pushing for a little bit of education on people. It was really easy for World of Wonder to put out this warning at the beginning of season 12 saying, oh, we disqualified Sherry Pie, we don't condone it. What does it cost you to say, please consume this show responsibly? This is not an accurate depiction of reality. It's an illusion. It's an illusion inspired by real events, but it's not an accurate depiction. So be responsible. We are dealing with people's life and in many ways people's mental health. So I know. I always digress. You know me. At this point we've been streaming for months. You know me. Now that we went through that, let's go back to our Kiki time. So if you have any question, this is your moment. You can ask whatever you want. As you know, on this channel, every question is welcome, as long as I am welcome when I do not feel comfortable to answer back. So we have this deal between you and I. Now, before we do that, I need to give you a little bit of updates on the channel. You know that we have been struggling with the series on Gigi Good. It's actually a hour and something long documentary. And I wrote the script months ago, and it was supposed to begin as one video, then it became 2 videos, then it became 3 videos, then it became 4 videos, and until we reached a point when we realized, okay, this is not an opinion piece anymore. This is not commentary anymore. This is a blown up documentary full of receipts, full of interesting things going on behind the scenes, full of things that in a way can also be educational for the people who watch the video on the other side of the screen. So what happened is that I basically recorded the voiceover, I did the edit, and at some point a couple of weeks ago, my partner came out and told me, this is good. It is nice. He's a nice man. This is good, but this does not sound as a documentary at all. This sounds like a commentary piece, because I will tell you the meaning of this. An opinion piece is like the way I'm talking right now. When I tell you what I think about things, my impressions, my allusions, my conclusions. And a documentary is a really impartial piece of media. It's something that might quote other sources, but never really gives any kind of judgment, because judgment is for the person that's on the other side of the screen. And this is for me really difficult to achieve. So he's been reworking the script. So it's a 23-page script, and he basically tore down all the work that I did. He's rewriting it from the beginning, making it shorter, making it more objective, if you will. And this is something that I wasn't really happy. I wasn't really happy in the beginning of it, because the last thing that you want is to see something that you spent so much time writing, and then somebody else comes along and says, okay, this is all shit, I'm going to rewrite it from the beginning. But he made one page. That's the problem. It's a very good one page. It sounds incredible. It's exactly what I want to try for the channel, because I would love to make some real documentaries, because some of our queens, like Pearl, for example, really deserve to have their story told in a way, in style, if you will, without someone talking on the background that goes on blah 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 blah, and you never have a moment to breathe and actually enjoy the media, enjoy the soundtrack behind it, the way the events are presented in a very cohesive manner and non-repetitive. I think it's something that I would like for the channel. So we are going to put that video is basically on pause again. It's crazy. It's been 5 months. I am so sorry for the delay, but it's been still reworked. If that wasn't enough, we have been working like crazy. Since September came, it looks like everything that was not done during, what happened, the quarantine and so on, everything came all together. So we are late, as usual. We are late RPDR videos. That's our official name. So what I'm going to do is move on to the next video while the script for the GG series gets reworked. And then when it's finished, I will start publishing the first video. But it has to come out soon, because, soon All Stars will come out and season 13 will come out. And there is a very interesting story behind what happened to Gigi Good. And I think it's a human story that can teach a lot to the people who consume this media. And it's not just interesting, it's really something that in a way I hold dear. Not because I particularly like Gigi or season 12 or so on, but because it's a very humane story. So I would like to tell it, hopefully in a moment where people are willing to listen. But for the moment I will move on. The next video will be about editing fails. It's been on the work for 1 year or so on, because we are very slow. We work in the time that we managed to get, but it's basically done. There is just a little bit of editing, there is a little bit of voiceover, so maybe in a couple of weeks it can already come out while that script gets reworked. And then we'll see. Amateur Seasons. And what about the Jocelyn Fox video? It's there. It's half done, much like a ton of the other things that we have. I would probably publish it after the editing fails, probably closer to when All Stars will be announced, because I want to point the attention on the fact that Jocelyn Fox will probably never be on All Stars. She will surely not be on All Star 6 if we go by the post that she made on Twitter. And it's really a pity and a loss. So I think that publishing that video really, really close to the announcement of All Star 6 will probably have the best chance to give Jocelyn more visibility. So I'm saving the video for that. But after I will publish the editing fails video, if the script, at least for episode 1 of the Gigi video, is done, I will concentrate on that. And then I will finish the Jocelyn Fox video, which, by the way, it's not just a recap of her season. It's also what's been doing during the years, the fact that she's DJing, the fact that she's concentrating on her community where she lives. Because, you know, there is not much about Jocelyn when you look, for example, at her social media. She's not really an Instagram queen that publishes something new every week. So people tend to forget about who she is. But I think she deserves a fair chance to be remembered. She is probably one of the genuinely sweetest queen that's ever been on the race. And I have very good memories of season 6, especially because of Jocelyn Fox. I mean, how can you forget when she went on the Snatch game and saying, come in. I think you mean cumin. No, it's come in. Or can I have a Pinot Grigio? I mean, last week I found a bottle of Pinot Grigio in the freezer. My boyfriend forgot it from the night before. Thank God it didn't explode. And I went to the table and said, would you like a glass of Pinot Grigio? So, you know, Jocelyn has really a special place for us. She's really something unique, you know, and came out in a time when queens didn't really produce themselves on the show. Of course, it's inevitable over time that they will start producing themselves. If you want an example, do you remember... oh God, I'm starting to forget names again. What was her name? Oh, great. You know, nothing makes whatever you say credible as much as when you forget halfway what you want to say. Dear God. I don't know if it's age or the fact that it's 1 a.m. I like to think that it's because it's 1 a.m. Jackie Cox. Dear God, how can I forget it? Not how can I forget it? How was I unable to recall it? Do you remember Jackie Cox? The amount of time she spent talking about her struggling relationship with her mother. I mean, at some point it became so much that you know, I was kind of like, oh, come on, Jackie. Of course she was edited like that. Because, you know, when you're filming for the show, you need to repeat the same things over and over and over again every episode, because otherwise there's a chance that they will simply not feature that. But then if they want to mock you, they will feature it in every episode. And that's what happens to Jackie Cox, which, by the way, mad respect for Jackie Cox. She deserves a video for herself. Mad respect. And if you followed our reviews, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, I'm glad to see that the chat agrees on Jocelyn. She was really, really incredible. But did you guys notice the lack of queens from season 6 on All Stars? It's crazy when you think about it. It's crazy. I mean, there was Milk, Ben La Creme, Adore, and nobody else. What happened to Trinity? What happened to Jocelyn? What happened to Darian? Which, despite the fact that he was portrayed basically as a villain, he is an hilarious queen. Kind of old style, which is kind of my style. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I don't get it. These are all queens that would be more than happy to come on All Stars, and they were not extremely controversial. People want them. So why the hell are they not booking them? I don't get it. I don't get it. So, we are going to see. We are going to see. Ty Hill says season 6 was one of the best. It's one of my favorite best for sure. Just because I loved everyone. On that season, I absolutely loved everyone on the season. And it was also really, really well done. Under many, many different point of views. I think what I appreciated the most about season 6 was the fact that there was no apparent villain. In my opinion, what happened is that before they started filming, Bianca was supposed to be the villain. And probably even during filming, she was supposed to be portrayed as a villain. Then they realized that they had an incredible storyline, an incredible redemption storyline for an incredible queen like Bianca. And they changed, they changed where they wanted to go. And they said, you know what? Fuck it. This is too good of a story to pass on. We don't have a villain, which might also explain why we ended up with this Darian Lake / Courtney Act villain edit that there was really not much going there. Courtney had a little bit of a brush with Jocelyn, they cleared it up, it finished there. And the thing, Darian versus Ben de la Creme, you can tell me whatever you want about it, but what I sensed watching the show was sexual tension between the two. I didn't sense any kind of competition or anger. What I sensed was sexual tension. And if you don't believe me, now that you have this thought in mind, go back and watch season 6. Watch the way they relate to each other. Because I have a feeling that our dear Ben de la Creme is a little bit of a chaser in his private time. But that is my feeling. That is my opinion. So I dare you. Go back and watch it. You will see. You will see. Ty Hill, I want April Carry On back too. Yeah, you know how long people have been asking for April Carry On. It's been crazy. She was one of the first queen to actually go on Instagram and publish the dresses that she didn't get to wear on the season. People have been constantly asked for April. They never took her back. They never took her back. At all. Amateur season. Season 2 and 6 are my favorite. I completely agree on that. With season 2 topping it. And if we're talking about the human side of RuPaul, because Diogo commented that season 2 was the best for him because Ru behaved like a human at the time. She topped that on season 1. If you watch season 1, RuPaul looks like a person. Can you believe that? I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but she looks like a person. She behaves like a person. She's actually helpful. That's a strange side of RuPaul. An uncorrupted side of RuPaul, if you will. But we will see. Ferenc Chow. I can't remember Vivacious. Come on, you can't remember. My God. My God. Go out. Go out. Go in the corner. No, don't look at me. Look at the wall. Now. Caro, my partner adores April Carry On. He was very mad when she was lost. You mean your partner wanted to fuck her? That's what you mean. It's a line from the show. It's a line from the show. I'm not being mean. Maya said Jessica was so sweet. I really loved her. Jessica Wilde, the original, at least in my opinion, the original Miss Congeniality of the earlier seasons. She was the most congenial queen, I think, maybe even of all Drag Race. I mean, how can you forget the dreams of a golden child? It's incredible. Or all the thing that went on with the drink when she said, "Ooh, I lube this drink." Do you remember? When Absolute was a sponsor, my God, it sounds so crazy today saying that they were sponsoring alcohol. Doesn't it sound crazy? My God. Diogo said, RuPaul, from human to a robot. Well, a robot most of the time is objective, so I don't know. I would say more from a human to a chicken. And when the next video comes out, you will see again what I mean with that. Easy G. I love this drink. Yes, Jessica was so precious. She was so precious. Like literally. She was so poised and so in a way so unfazed by the competition. I remember during a moment in Untucked in season 2, when Raven was trying to stir the pot a little bit, saying, okay, who do you think is in the bottom because Tatiana is shit and blah blah blah. I don't know if it was exactly like that. And Jessica was like, well, you never know in this competition. Sometimes you think you're in the top and then you're in the bottom, and sometimes you're in the bottom but then you're in the top, so you never know. She was basically saying what we all would say today, it's about the script, it's about the way they want to carry out the race. But she was already saying it back in season 2, and Raven, in a rare moment of humanity for season 2, she said, come on, Jessica, you don't need to be so politically correct all the time. Be shady for once, or something like that, She was really nice. She always puts a smile in my face. She's one of the reasons I liked season 2 so much. And season 2 had one of the most proper drama on TV. It was really good. It was really good. And everybody knew that, it was dramatized because it was over the top. You see what I mean? Well, in the very beginning, this kind of drama would be taken over the top, so that people would look at it and say, okay, this must be, this is fake, this is exaggerated, but it's entertaining. And this is what has changed since we moved to VH1. That exaggeration went away and was replaced by an illusion of reality. And, younger viewers buy it and then act upon it. But this is something that Drag Race really pioneered, bringing this kind of drama to the point of the absurd. Do you remember during all these moments in Untucked when you would have basically silence and then the queens staring at each other for 3 minutes and then picking up the sentence that they were saying 3 minutes before? I mean, it was surreal. And that's what for me made it so great, because I would look at it and think, yes, this is surreal, but it's so good. I was entertained, but I was also consuming the show in a healthy way. So, good old times, good old times. We are not the target audience anymore. Karu said, Pandora needs a redemption from All Stars 1. Yeah, Pandora is a sad story. Pandora is a sad story. Well, she also has an history of depression, so I'm not surprised. I don't know if she will ever be back. She has all the cards to come back. I don't think World of Wonder has anything against bringing Pandora back. The problem is, I don't think that she would be... She is, how can I say... She's an investment for the show. Because don't forget, when these queens go on the show, they are also under contract. And that contract states that they have a clause, an exclusivity clause, which means that for a certain period of time, they cannot do any other form of media without getting permission. That permission usually comes with a price. Who pockets the price? Well, the holder of the contract. So if you're putting these queens on the contract and your objective is making money, you want to make sure that you make money. So when taking, for example, a queen like Pandora and say, okay, who do I bring back? Pandora or the Vixen, if she would ever do it? I mean, of course they're going to choose the Vixen. Or Darian Lake, or even Jocelyn Fox. I mean, Pandora is the last one on the radar. She's another sad story from season 2. Really. Farring says, it was a bit more dramatic that way. Talking about Untucked. Yeah, it was dramatic. It was over-dramatic. La Casa de Locas. It was that kind of dramatic. Osiris Red said, Pork Chop needs to come back to break the joke. My God, Pork Chop. I don't think she will ever come back. She will always be... Oh, by the way, Osiris, now that you talk about Pork Chop, and we talked about exclusivity period, you remember that one year, Pork Chop was not at the reunion, and RuPaul didn't do the usual line, "Hey Pork Chop." She didn't do it because Pork Chop participated to another reality competition, and she was under the exclusivity clause. So she couldn't appear for the reunion of Drag Race. You see, I'm not talking bullshit when I talk about this kind of things, because you can see the consequences of it, the real consequences of it. Caro says, I would say I was very happy to see the queens, and I realized that even J. Jolie is a better actress than RuPaul. Oh, absolutely. Have you seen her work based on World War II? You know what I mean? Oh, shit. I'm not going to elaborate on that. You have to find it out by yourself. You know what helps? A Red Bull. A drink of Red Bull. And let's thank Fantasia for sponsoring Red Bull from Patreon. By the way, that's the shameless plug. Support us. Karu said, "Don't make me laugh like that. My partner is sleeping. Mine too. And you know what's crazy? That in 5 hours he has to wake up to go to work. I will get to sleep all morning. He won't. Oh, dear God. You know, before he went to sleep, I told him, do you have earplugs? Because when I'm tired, I tend to get loud." Activity 15 says, D15 said, "Not usually the recipient for Oscar." Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, I'm still here. I'm still here. Okay, let's skip a couple of comments. Diogo says, "Red Bull will not bring you wings, she brings you wigs." D15 said, "Are you talking about when J. Jolie was exposed on Trinity's podcast?" I don't know. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about something else. Caro says, "I'll destroy tomorrow morning." Caro, are you from Europe? Is it 1:30 a.m. for you as well? Because this is crazy timing. But this is what we have to do. The majority of the audience is from another time zone. We have to come on at this time. Caro says, "It's broken now. Are you happy?" It's past. It's okay. It's a good laugh. It helps from time to time. Diego says, "You sound like a pig and I'm leaving." Yes, I cannot help it. I cannot help it. That's the sound that I make. That's how I laugh. Amateur season. I left for a minute and I come back to this. What did I miss? Caro says, "I'm French." Well, we are in the same time zone. It's the same time in here. It's deep night. It's deep night. Maya from France as well. It's strange to have so many people from Europe in this time. I mean, I'm happy. But you know, strange. Good. Amateur season. I went back to the minute I missed. Well, I will explain you what happened. Okay, I will explain you what happened. As you know, drag queens didn't really used to make much money being drag queens. At least not before RuPaul's Drag Race came along and brought drag race to a mainstream audience, and everybody could have a proper career, and blah 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 and blah blah blah, yada 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 yada. So what happened? That a ton of queens did porn before. A ton of queens did porn. Detox did porn, Violet Chachki did porn, and Jay Jolie did porn. The problem is, the kind of porn that Jay did was, and believe it or not, she was a top. I watched it. I watched it. My God, that sounds so. And she had an interesting character. Let's say it like this: she had an interesting. She was portraying an interesting character in that adult movie. So that's why I was laughing before when you said she was a better actress. That's because she did porn. Diogo, I'm from Brazil. She is from Brazil. Diogo is one of the usual users that we have here. Thanks for coming, by the way. It's really nice to spend some time together. Maya says, at Carlos Carrillo Vicky. Am I sleeping already? Yeah, I'm kind of sleeping. Sasha, it's almost 9 p.m. here. Oh, I envy you so much. I envy you so much. In 4 hours, I will be awake for. I would have been awake for a whole day. So you know how I'm feeling. I mean, I'm going on with cigarettes and Red Bull. Diogo, I saw Farah in a port. No, come on, you didn't see her. Do you have a link? No, I'm just kidding. Please don't post it here. Don't post it here. We're having enough problems with YouTube already. We cannot have this kind of links. We have a Discord. Okay. Oh, dear God. Ty Hill says so many different countries. Yeah, isn't it super nice? I think it's still incredible that there are a ton of people from around the world who would just come here and listen to me being a complete idiot. And it's so nice. It's so nice. I'm so happy that I brought you guys together. And we can talk shit and watch. Corinne Mercury says, Farah has only a supporting role in a P to the O to the R to the N. And she did a funny bit at the beginning. Okay, well, that's a letdown, but I can live with it. Ferenc. God, I'm so bad with names. Here in Mexico, we have the cheap version of RuPaul's Drag Race called La Más Draga. Yeah, I heard that. Somebody mentioned it. Somebody mentioned it again in the stream some months ago. Never watched it. Corinne said, Alaska and I think also Bianca as a supporting role in a porno. No, I saw something with Bianca. My God. Well, everybody watching the stream afterwards has already left. So we can untuck, let's say it like that. Well, Bianca actually did not have a supporting role. She actually was in a promo for a porn, and but she wasn't really. It was a split screen thing, so she was not really doing anything. But it was funny. It was funny because she was basically. Oh my god, how can I put this in a way that will keep the video from getting taken down? She was being given a kiss. Somebody was kissing her. Not on the mouth. But she was not really the recipient. She was made to look like she was the recipient of the kiss. And let's say that she was being kissed on the lighter. Yes, I want to smoke. And she was saying to the person who was kissing her, she was saying, "Sissy, that lighter, bitch." It was so good. Oh, it was so good. My God, it was so good. Maya says, "So happy I waited 5 hours to be here with you all. It really was worth it." Yeah, you guys also make it worth it. When I see the comments running on, it feels like I'm not alone in the room. I don't know if you ever thought about it, but when you listen to someone talking, that someone on the other side of the screen is alone in the room in the middle of the night, laughing by himself like an idiot. So whenever I see the chat going and people commenting and so on, it feels like I'm in a room full of people. So I'm also happy that you're here. I'm happy that you enjoy it, and I'm happy that you guys are here as well. Diogo says, here we have our cheap drag race too. It's called Academia de Drags. Well, I have no doubt that there are a ton of different variations on the drag race brand because, it's profitable. It's really profitable. And it's also part of the sexual revolution that we've been going through for the past 5, 6, 7 years. So it's good. It's not bad. I don't think that everything has to be drag race. Shows can take different routes, do things in a different direction, maybe even better. So I don't judge a show just because it's not part of the brand. But of course, if I understand nothing on the language, it's going to be difficult. Sasha said Violet was also in a PORN. I know. She was no, come on, okay. Let's not go there. Ferring said there's a YouTube for it. What is he talking about? I missed it. I blanked. For watching the show. Okay. Maya says, "What's up with all the porn? I don't know how it started. I blanked out. Oh yes, when somebody said that Jake Jolie was a great actress." Oh God, who was it? Was it Karu? I don't remember. I blanked out for a moment. Izzy, I love this description. Carlos Carrillo, these queens in LA always looking to get famous anyway. Well, I'm not judging people in some. I'm pretty sure that among all of these people, some of them needed to do what they did to pay their bills, you know. And I think, what can I say? What can I say? If you need it, if that's what you need to do to support yourself, as long as you're, you know, not hurting anyone, it's your life, it's your body. You can do whatever you want with it. You can do whatever you want with it. As I told you before, what rubs me the wrong way is when people do things because they want more money. This visceral attachment to money. That's what really rubs me the wrong way. Diogo said, we have Ariel Versace porn too, but it's not good, so I don't recommend. Now that you mentioned, we have a parody video coming out. It's going to be, it's a parody song. I don't know when it's coming out because as you know, I cannot stand still. I cannot work in one video at a time. So we wrote the parody. I already have the material for editing the video. So, as I said in the last stream, I wanted to invite you guys from the chat to sing it along with me. So, if any of you would take the chance to be a complete idiot and sing this stupid thing with us, I will be most happy about it. So, if you would like to do something like that, join the Discord, of which I don't have a link. Which is great. Can somebody post a link for the Discord? Amateur Season, could you post a link so that everybody can get it? If you would like to participate in this, the moment we have the video ready and finished, I will send you a link to it, and you can do whatever you want about it. You can sing along, you can react to it, you can make comments about it, you can do whatever you want, that you want to be seen. And then you send us the result. Then when it's all done, we'll patch it all together and publish it for the general public. So if we gather enough people, we will do that, absolutely. Otherwise, you will be blessed by my non-existent singing abilities. And yes, Ariel and her, let's say, hidden abilities will be part of it. Will be mentioned, yes. So just to put it out there. Amateur Season. I'm happy that LaShawn Beyond is on All-Star 78. Oh, poor LaShawn. Karu, I don't watch French TV, but I don't think we have anything close to drag show in here. It will come. It will come. I mean, in 2079, we'll probably have Drag Race Iran, so why not? Caro, yes, it was me. Yes, it was you. You see, it's almost 2 a.m., and I'm blanking out, and I'm stroking out, but I can remember comments. Which is really good. Good for me. Good for me. Corinne said, where we come from? Where we come? Oh, Top RPDR Videos channel, where we come for the drag queens and stay for the porn. Oh, damn, I said it. I said it. Well, it is how it is. It's out there. Whatever. I'm sure I probably mentioned it many other times. Maya, no, we don't at all. And it's really a shame. Ty Hill said, preach it, honey. Diogo says, hands down, Sasha Bell as the best only of Drag Race. Well, I am unusually informed on the matter, and I can tell you that based on what I read, she needs the coins. She's doing it because she needs the coins. It's not because she likes the extra money. She actually needs the extra money. So yeah, I mean, you can perfectly understand it. In these times, when you are in that kind of business, it's really difficult to make a living. It's really difficult. I mean, for a very, very famous queens, queens with millions of followers, they can put out something, make an online show, get some money. But for queens like Sasha, for example, which are basically forgotten, what should they do? What should they do? Carlos says it's hard to the younger guys in the U.S. to make money just as drag queens. It's not easy. It's not a easy race because drugs and alcohol is abundant. We talk about these queens so easy, but they're normal people. Yes, that's the point. I mean, talk about them is part of the game when you are a public figure, but yes, you know exactly how I feel about this. Ty Hill, I'm waiting for Drag Race Puerto Rico. Yeah, that would be something interesting. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, they were having huge economical problems. I didn't follow up on the situation because, I happened to dig into it a little bit because I watched an episode, I think, of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and they talked about it. They talked about how there was basically a speculation bubble and everything was bursting, but then I don't know what happened anymore. Karus at Drag Race Iran. Oh, amateur season, thank you for the Discord link. Thank you. Ferenc, don't have Discord, but I added it. Karu said, I remember Sasha Bell, but not really what she did in her season. Well, she had a wardrobe malfunction in her lip sync against Katya. If you remember, at some point at the very end of the song, they were lip syncing to Olivia Newton-John, and you can see that her titty popped out. It was really funny to me. AZG, anyone can join the Discord? Yes, of course, it's not private. It's not private, don't worry. We don't talk shit. We don't. Really, we don't. Karu says, everybody's welcome. Everybody is. I mean, don't be a dick. That's the general rule in normal life, so don't worry. Of course, if you want to join. It's made by fans. It's not made by me. I'm not a moderator on it. So if you want to talk shit about me, you're welcome to do it. I have nothing against it. Osiris said, you should review Hurricane Bianca movies and Cherry Pop. Cherry Pop I never watched. I watched Hurricane Bianca. To be one of the first drag movies, I think it was really well done. But if we are watching it with the perspective of it's a drag movie, if you try to compare it to movies in general, it was kind of poorly done. It was kind of amateur. But if you're a fan of the show and if you are a fan of Bianca Del Rio, it's a treat, without a doubt. So I honestly prefer a mediocre film than no film at all. At least this is my opinion. But by the way, if you have any suggestion for the November stream, I will post. No, I already have a post in the community section of the channel where we did whatever. Pick any post, the latest one, and you can leave your suggestions in there, so that I can actually see it, because I read your comment now and then I lose it. Then I completely forget about it. But if there's something that you would like to talk about during the next streams, just leave it there. Like we did with this month, we will publish a poll. I think I would say a couple of weeks, in about a couple of weeks. And you guys will decide what we talk about, because I think that is the best way. I can pick some topic that I feel like I have enough knowledge about it to actually have something interesting to say, but maybe nobody is interesting. So why not just let you guys choose. You make your suggestion. I pick things that I feel like I have something to say about it, and then you decide what you get. And that is the best way, at least until we get back into season. When we go back into season, we go back to doing the chop every Sunday and following the shady editing, the behind the scene, and whatever the hell they will be coming on in the next season. Because I think we're going to go downhill. It's going downhill from that point of view. I think the moment they will start reverting back to being original, respectful, and really entertaining in a healthy way, it will be when the show is starting to lose money, not before. And I don't know if you know it, but Drag Race won a ton of Emmys, and it's never been so popular. So I expect some crazy shit for the next season. And mind you, we called Brita's villain edit and Widow's villain edit on episode 1. So, don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say I didn't warn you. Carlos Carrillo said, I love Chi-Chi and she was so poor and she always tried so hard. You know, I'm without word when I think about it. There is simply no way to explain. I don't have the command of the language to explain the way I feel about it. And I feel that if I would say anything, it would just sound reductive. But what you're saying, it's true. She was asking for help for her medical bills because she was in the hospital before. She had problems. She was suspected of kidney failure. And then what happened. Now, do you remember when she was on All Stars? She was one of the first contestants on All Stars who basically begged the other guys to eliminate her. You know, to say, come on, this is... I did what I came here to do. It's time to cut it there. Send me home. That's it. I think we lost a lot of the conversation that she had in her season of All Stars was cut out. Because you know what they were doing to Chi-Chi. They brought her back riding on the redemption edit that she had for season 8. And then use her for filler. That's at least how it looks to me. So, yeah. Ty Hill said, Puerto Rico might become a state soon, so that will create a bunch of opportunities, so we'll see. Well, unfortunately, I have no idea how politics of territories of the United States really work. I have no idea. But they are not, you know, they have this thing that they are not a state member of the United States. They are a territory, which means, at least from how I understand it, it means that they have a ton of obligation and very little rights. Karu said legendary, referring to Chi-Chi. Ratapus said, top RPDR Discord, when? What do you mean by that? Are you sleeping? Karu says, probably the best contest show I've seen this year. Hands down. What are you referring to? Yeah, that's the problem in reading the chat after minutes when it's been published. I cannot multitask when I'm tired. Sasha said, you also called Gigi's hero headed in the first episode too, I think. Yes, I did. I did. And you know what? You know what I'm really proud of? Sasha, that there are spoilers out there, and according to my partner, who actually saw the spoilers after the season finished, they were extremely accurate. Now, I don't watch the spoilers. I try to stay away from it. But, for someone on the other side of the screen, when we do predictions and talk about things, they say, okay, maybe you just saw the spoilers and you are faking all of this. But, the spoilers really tell you nothing about the building of the kind of edits that these queens actually get. Who is getting the hero edit, who is getting the villain edit, who is going to have a redemption, and so on. And many of these edits, we actually called them on episode 1. And it was what I liked about it was not that we got bullseyes on them, is that since episode 1, we had a chance to document the evolving of these kind of storylines for the queens, episode after episode, and have it come full circle. That is the part that I appreciated the most. Because spoilers tell you nothing about these kind of things. They don't tell you how a storyline will evolve. They probably don't tell you the twists and turns, the seeds that are put there in order to plant a doubt that then will come out 2 episodes later. And we documented all of this. And I'm really proud of that. Because it was really, really hard work. It was really hard work. Only to make the confessional charts, it took like 4 or 5 hours. It was crazy. But it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. If it helps, it's worth it. And if it's also entertaining, then why not? Diogo says, I can see Candy Muse on Drag Race, and she being the villain or the miscongeniality of the season. Unfortunately, I don't know Candy Muse. Yeah, I know. I know that it's a famous name out there, but I don't know it. Carlos says, beautiful girl Chi-Chi. Bless her heart. Yeah, it's this fucked up here. Everything's going wrong this year. Amateur Season says, Brita is absolutely amazing. What fans did to Brita is absolutely awful. Yeah, but fans are only half of the story. That's what I want to point out. It's only half of the story, especially when it comes to young fans. When you try to trick them into believing something, you also have a responsibility for it. You cannot simply say, oh, I do whatever I want without caring about it, and then whatever people do, it's 100% up to them. Yeah, but what about the fact that a ton of these people are not even of legal age to respond legally for what they say and what they do? What about them? Shouldn't you at least try to be a tiny bit educational? A tiny bit, because it's an entertaining show, but just a tiny bit, just that little bit. It doesn't even have to be in the show. It can be on Instagram, it can be on Twitter, as long as it's real. Karu said, I was talking about Legendary, the HBO show about ballrooms. Oh, well, it's late night. You have to forgive me. It's late night. Ty says, Chi-Chi will forever be my favorite queen of all time. I wanted to meet her so bad since I turned 21 and I could finally see her, but then she got sick and it was hard watching her. You know what makes me angry? That people like RuPaul could have come out of her hiding and use their huge fan base to say, listen, somebody needs to pay our medical bills. Can you help? You know how much of a difference that would have made. Osiris said, should have UK Drag Race Season 2 without RuPaul? Oh my god, this is not me. You cannot tell me that this is me. I will read your comment out loud. You said should have UK Drag Race Season 2 without RuPaul. This is not me. I'm not imagining things. I know what you mean. But you know how you wrote it. Faring says, Divina was robbed from my point of view. Yeah, a ton of people would also say that the race was rigged, because if you remember, the Vivienne was chosen years before as the Drag Race ambassador in the UK. And then when she won, people were like, well, you know, I think, if I remember correctly, there was an interview to Michelle Visage in which she said, she was asked, don't you have a biased point of view toward the Vivienne since she was the UK ambassador? She said, no, absolutely no. And then she won the way she won. I mean, I'm not here to judge, you know, how much she earned it. That's a matter of opinion. I have mine, you have yours. You know, like Bianca says, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and I have mine. That's not the point. The point is that it gave away the idea that, you know, they already chose her. And in my point of view, they chose her because Divina was simply too smart and gave them too much attitude. She would have been difficult to manipulate, in my opinion. The Vivienne was a much safer choice. So that's what I think about it. And I don't like fake teeth. I'm sorry, I don't like it. I prefer whatever you have. It feels more real. Osiris says, although she was in a UK singing contest and Becca was in Bake Off. Do you remember years ago when Aquaria was booed on stage and she went away? She left the stage because people were booing her because she was basically making a contest. Okay, and she had to randomly choose one contestant from the audience. And instead of doing that, she chose somebody that she knew. I think she did it because she wanted to give, if I remember correctly, this person was trans and she wanted to give her visibility. But people were not happy about it because no matter how good your intentions are, if you are supposed to choose someone randomly from an audience, you have to choose someone randomly on the audience. So people were not happy about it and they booed her off stage. And in the video, I have the video, you see the bag of chips is there and she's laughing. Oh, God. Karu says, yes, queens arise pretty much with a predefined role. Even the filler queens, as filler. I don't like the term filler, but I don't have a better one. Yes, I understand the struggle. When you are dealing with a language that it's not yours, it's very difficult to find appropriate words. Diogo says, I like spoilers because it's funny. Like the Vixen against Aquaria, and Aquaria was naked with the judge while the Vixen is defying gravity. I'm not sure what you're referring. I'm not sure what you're referring about. I'm not sure I want to know at this time. Tai says, I love the drag queens are really being shown everywhere. Hopefully, Ru lets more trans girls on. Yes, it's time. Come on. It's time. What the hell are you afraid of? If it's really about charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, then what the hell does it matter if your balls are between your legs or on your chest? Pavlin says, I think that the Vixen was set up in RuPaul's Drag Race, and I think a lot of people hate her for no reason. And I will elaborate on that, saying that when she did her psychological evaluation, she was cast exactly for that purpose. Exactly for that purpose. Because I don't know if you guys know, but before you go on doing reality television, you have to undergo psychological evaluation. Allegedly, to be sure that you are no threat to anybody. But you know, when they give you a personality test, they also get a pretty good idea of what triggers you and how. Caro says, DDC was robbed, obviously, but the Vivienne has to have the crown they won. She is a great queen, but I wanted Divina to win indeed. I completely agree on that. I liked her much more. I like them much more. I don't know if it's because I'm simply drawn to more mature queen because I'm old as fuck, so I relate more. The older they are, the more I relate. But you know, she had that something for me, that sass, that poise in a way. So I liked her a lot. But you know, winning is not everything, especially today on Drag Race. You can have an incredible career without even going near the top 3. So, you know. Caro, I forget you. I'm tired too. You mean you forgive me? My God, that was so douchey. Sorry. Sorry. Ty says, exactly, broken heart. We need to be better human beings to each other and care for each other. Yeah, you don't need to do exceptional things. You know, being a human being doesn't mean that you have to be 100% there for everyone. It means just be a human being from time to time. You know, understand, for example, when somebody is being triggered, and you simply need to keep silence and, you know, look at them, and maybe instead of talking with your mouth, you can talk with your hands and give whoever it is you're talking to a pat on the back and make them understand that you're not an enemy. You know, that's the meaning of being human. It's not that you have to do extreme gestures. It's small things that are thoughtful in the moment. Caro says, Vivian was the chosen one indeed. Yes, I'm completely convinced of that as well. Osiris says, sorry, my grammar is bad all the time. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's just a joke. I mean, can you hear me talking? You know, when I make voiceovers for videos, I have to record myself a ton of time because I have bad grammar, bad pronunciation, use words that do not exist. So it's a process. So don't worry. And it's a joke, you know. It's a joke on me. It's a joke on you. Sometimes I'm the butt of the joke. Sometimes someone else is. We take turns. In the end, we all have a good laugh. Caro says, the whole season was incredibly enjoyable to watch, though, talking about Drag Race UK. I liked it as well. I think they could have done better. But it was, let's just say it like this, it was a good start. Corinne said, I watched the UK finale in a gay bar in London, and the way everyone gasped at the winner, as much as I loved DDC, with DDC. What the hell is DDC? Oh, Divina De Campo. Oh my God. Yes, it's 15 past 2. And it also sounds like, well, no, let's not do that. And she continues. I think Vivian makes for a great winner, marketing-wise. I like the way you think. Caro, yes, the Vivian represents, no one can deny. I watched what I found awful was that the winner was given a web show on World of Wonder. That was the prize. You know, usually queens are paid to do a web show on World of Wonder, but by contract, at least for the contract, the American contract, they are forced to do appearances. It's in the contract, and I'm not really sure they are paid for it. So they basically won the right to fulfill the contract that they signed. Could be. You know how it sounds. Well, maybe in UK they had a different contract, different rules. Usually here in Europe we have a little bit of stricter rules about what you can actually write in this kind of contract. So maybe you cannot really book future appearances and reserve them for a discount price or no price. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have the contract for Drag Race UK, but it would be really interesting. Corinne said, what do you think of the bearded queen on Holland Drag Race? I haven't watched Holland Drag Race. I haven't watched Canada's Drag Race. We cannot catch a breath in this period. When, for example, this stream, I started looking around for what I felt comfortable talking about. So I made five possibilities in the poll. So it was decided this Monday. So I thought, okay, since Monday, I have all the time to take the screenshots and tie it all together and do everything. And then during the week, I had absolutely zero time. I started yesterday afternoon and I finished 2 hours before the stream. We cannot really catch a break. It's this period. It's the way it is. And it's probably going to get worse, but let's not get into that. Amateur Season said, in my opinion, Gothic Candle should have won. Caro, geez, I forgive you. See, I'm tired. Imagine Gothy making a grrr with the ant things with the crown. Yes, it would be without prize. Yes, that's no prize. We can agree. Caro continues, but it was public televisions. Yes, Amateur Season said it before as well. That since it's public television, they have a different way of giving prizes, because for some reasons they cannot give away big prizes because it's. I didn't really understand. I mean, I understand the reasoning behind it, but I don't understand the how would that reasonably apply. What are you afraid of? Backlash because it's public money? I don't really get it. And besides, there are a ton of valuable things that are valuable despite the fact that you don't really have to pay for it. And if you don't know what I mean, for example, a series of interview to be published on World of Wonder, where you talk about your history and the evolution of your drag and so on, and you have this space of, let's say, 20 minutes on a channel that has 1 million subscribers and so on. That costs nothing, instead of this web series that it wasn't really funny for me either, and they even had to bring Bagga back. That's really, it's been 4 years that everything it's political, and it's never political in the how can I say, in an healthy way, Of course, some things have to be political and you have to be with your head in it, but there is way on doing it. And comedy, that's not even funny. It's not a way of doing it. I'm sorry, I didn't really like their show. It was not funny to me. Not at all. Karu says, it would be the same here in France on public television. No money. That it's interesting. That it's really interesting. Diogo says, can we say how good is Brita's padding? Yes, it's good padding. She is juicy. She's thick and juicy. Like our best friend Roxy Andrews. Of course, best friends in my imagination. Because, she would probably ignore me if I would try to approach her on social media. Ty Hill said, seriously, I haven't watched Drag Race since Guido went home on season 12. I needed a break. Yes, I know. In a way, it was kind of heavy. There was this all hero headed with Gigi and all the forced drama. It started to become a little bit too much. Cyrus says, I'm a bit behind in the Drag Race as I'm on the reunion of season 11, as I don't want to leave the season to go to see season 12. For what it is, but I want to see All Stars 5 though. Well, there is no real continuation between season 12 and All Stars 5. So if you want to skip season 12 and go immediately to All Stars 5, then once you watched All Stars 5, please, when you watch All Stars 5, Mind how relatable Miss Cracker is, because we talked about it for all the 8 episodes that we made. Cheeky says, the Dutch bearded queen is modeled after the original bearded singer Conchita Wurst of Austria. She won the Eurovision Song Contest in 2014, and if you haven't seen her, look her up. Rise like a phoenix. I've seen her. She looked beautiful. In a weird way, but she looked beautiful. Corinne says, I agree, I really need a break from Drag Race, but I can't stop watching because I don't want to get spoiled over who goes home. Yeah, sometimes you get spoiled, sometimes especially when you wait. But if it, like for Drag Race Canada, I already know who wins, I already know who goes home, when they go home, and so on. But think about it this way. Part of the enjoyment that you get is in the travel itself. It's not really about the destination, it's about how you get there. So once you are, it's in a way, it's enjoyable in its own right, because you don't feel kind of pressured to think, oh my god, who is going to go and why. You're really free to appreciate everything that happens. So if you get spoiled for some reason, don't take it as if the end of the world. You will simply have access to another way of enjoying the show. I hope that helps, because people tend to get really pissy when they get spoiled, but it's not the end of the world. There are also ways in which you can enjoy your shows anyway. Corinne says, I love Conchita Wurst. Her song is perfect for a James Bond movie. And Caro, you'll be surprised by the prizes given in Drag Race Holland, I guess. Oh, really? Now you made me curious. What did they get? Cheeky says, yes, at Corinne, I've said that over and over again. When she sings Bond, them music, it's awesome. When she sings Bond, them music, it's... yeah, there probably is something, a little bit of language barrier in there, and me being half asleep. Diogo says, the best thing about Drag Race Holland is seeing the Americans struggling with the subtitles. It's time. Come on, it's time. But I always think it's nice to hear a different language. And I don't care about the subtitles. That's how I learned English, by the way. Some of it was taught to me in school and then in high school. But once I got to university, the only way to properly learn English was by consuming media in English and watching subtitles and start relating the words not to the translation but to the context in which they were used. That's how it really tied it together for me. And once I did that, I started enjoying very, very different medias in very different languages, just with the subtitles. There is simply no substitution. If you watch the movie that won Best Pictures on the Oscar last year, or no, it wasn't this year, it's called Parasite. It's, I think, a Korean movie, in Korean. It's incredibly good, and I didn't feel disturbed by the fact that I didn't understand the language at all. It felt so cohesive in a way. It would have felt strange if it was dubbed. Corinne said at Yogo, I agree, Manila and Latrice are reviewing it on their podcast, and it's really funny how they complain about subtitles. Graphic 13. Bite the hand that feeds you much, Heather. You literally run a show about Drag Race. Talk about Strange, talking shit about RuPaul when he is the subject of your whole YouTube SMDH. You talking about me? I don't get it. I don't... well, if you're talking about me, we don't get money from this channel, so I'm sorry to to break your your fantasy and so on. We enjoy talking about what we enjoy talking about. Diogo says, Widow's elimination was the only one that I really cried. Cheeky, here in Sweden, drag has a very proud history in the drag group. After Dark started in 76. It was an immediate success and was shown on TV here in 1978. They just celebrated 40 years of the show. Damn, that's incredible. Where I come from, there is no such thing as any kind of drag show. Not on television at all. So that's great. Ty says, I just watch reviews like the Pit Stop. LOL, I just can't watch that episode. Then watch Canada's episode, then watch Untucked, then watch Holland. It's just too many. Yes, we cannot catch a break this year. There's been so much Drag Race, you cannot help. I mean, I cannot help but pass at some point. You know, it will come a time in which I will have more time, and we will also have less Drag Race on television, and we will cherish this older season. So I'm thinking I will probably look back at them and see them as new, and be glad that we have it, much like it's happening with Star Trek, for example. Sasha said they win an ugly dress on Drag Race Holland. You spoiled it for me. Karu, a dress, a cover in Cosmopolitan, and I don't remember. It's a little bit better than Drag Race UK, but far away from the 100K. Oh yeah. By the way, it's been 8 years. Shouldn't they adjust that 100K? I mean, there is such thing as inflation, isn't it? Should probably be 200K. Yogo, they win a Miss Cracker dress. Ty Hill, I love hearing other languages. I want to hear more Portuguese next. As Alaska says, Portuguese is the language of love. Karu says, I'm not fashion fluent, but the dress is meh. Well, I believe you. Don't worry. My sense of style is dreadful. You should see the way I get out of the house. You would not believe it. Corinne says, I love Parasite. Absolutely brilliant. By far the best movie I've seen in recent memory. Yes, it was so good. It was really, really so good. I loved it. It was such a surprise. So fresh. It was edited so well. Nothing felt like a cliche, and nothing felt like it was just buying time for the movie. You know, when a movie is able to use all of its time for a purpose in each moment, then you get completely sucked in the story. Nothing takes you out of the experience. So it was a trip. It was really, really good. If you guys have a chance to watch it, absolutely do not get scared by the fact that it's not in English, because it's done so well. It's paced so well that it will fill you up just by the way it looks, and then the story and the dialogue will be the cherry on top. Corinne Mercury says, are you a Star Trek fan? Yes, absolutely. I grew up watching Star Trek. I mean, what we've been having recently, it's been kind of shit, to be honest. There is no spirit of Trek in it anymore. It's just pew, pew, pew for teenagers who cannot keep their attention on things for more than 2 minutes unless there's an explosion. So yes, I mean, Patrick Stewart was my surrogate father. It was a father figure to me, much more than my father was. So yeah, I really hold it dear. Ty Hill, not a Miss Cracker dress. Maya, gotta go to sleep, sorry. Love you all. Thanks for the wonderful evening. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Hope I see you soon. And have a good sleep. Sasha, I think you would like to watch Drag Race Holland, though. The editing is something, to say the least. Is it that good? I mean, you mean it's shady. You mean it's shady. Come on. Ferenc says, see you girls, gotta go also. Take care and wash your hands and use your mask. That's great advice. Thank you for joining. I'll see you soon, maybe. If we survive. Oh, guys. Cheeky, time for bed. It's 2:30 in the morning here in Europe. Thank you all and have a nice evening. Yeah, guys. I completely agree. Everybody is going to sleep, and I think I'm going to sleep as well. I will have a lovely cigarette, and then I'll go to rest. It's 2:30. By the way, thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining, keeping me company. Have a laugh together. And don't forget, YouTube is not sending out notifications for the channel. It's not suggesting our community posts to the subscribers. It's not suggesting our videos. So if you want to be up to date, you need to turn on the notifications. Absolutely. Absolutely. I promise, I really hold to my promise not to flood your feed, because we will probably receive a notification from us like once a week top. But that's really important. So I'll see you in the community section with the new poll. For those of you that want to join us on Discord, come on Discord. We will talk some shit together. Every once in a while, when I have time, I pop in and paste some interesting articles on different topics, if you would like. And with that said, I'll see you in the next stream. Next stream will be the first Sunday of each month. So the first Sunday of each month. Yes. The first Sunday of November. But I'll make a post and you guys get to decide what we talk about. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being here. And keep each other's companies for more than 3 hours, actually. It was really nice. And welcome to the new viewers that came. And thank you for the whole viewers for continuing to support the channel with your upvotes, your comments, and most of all, your interaction with us. Because it's really, really appreciated. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next time. Have a great night. And if you are on the other side of the ocean, have a great day. Or have a great evening. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.